Welcome everyone to the 17th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. It's Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. And once again, we'll be joined a bit later on with Caroline Keshe. I'm not sure she's here right now. And we'll be looking to start off today's session with seeing what Tom Salas has been doing in Dominica. He's there now and helping people in that vicinity after their devastation from a hurricane. And we can have a look at some of Tom's pictures and what he's written for us. Let's see, we've got a video here we can show. Let's do that first. Okay. Okay, you should be able to see that. This is a video from Tom Salas from Dominica. Okay, I'll play that.
Hi guys. Okay, a scenario for you to contemplate. Imagine if you were in a mad hurricane and everything blew away and you were all right, you found yourself, you're living at the end of it, and you're wondering what the hell to do next. Okay, so here's what I would do. First, I would go to my little cherry tree if it was still standing, and I would find a cherry and give myself some vitamin C. Next thing I would do is I would walk over to my house that perhaps had blown away, and I would start to salvage what I can to make plasma. So, first thing I'm going to do is find some wood, because I'm going to make a fire. Wood is not a problem. We have plenty of wood. Next thing I'm going to do is have a look what I can find. So, for example, okay, there's a box of old cables from my music stuff. Tons of copper inside there. We can get our wire for copper. We're looking for a couple of things. Copper, rusted iron, something galvanized, which is zinc, salt if we've got salt. If we haven't, we can go down to the sea. It might be a bit of a walk because we're going to be climbing over trees and debris, but we can get to the sea if we need salt. And a couple of containers. We'll make a fire and we're good to go. We can make our own little survival kit there that we can feed ourselves, take away pain, get the plants growing again, and a bunch of cool stuff, just using elements we've got kicking around after our house has blown down. Alright, so first thing I can see is that fella there. That is a piece of chicken wire and it's gone rusty. That's perfect. That's going to give us a plasma of iron, CH3. If there's a bit that hasn't rusted anywhere, it's going to be galvanized, and that's going to have zinc on it. We're going to use that bit for, there we go. An unrusted piece of galvanized. Oh God, where have I put the other piece now? Ah, there it is. Okay. So we've got some copper in our cables. Oh, even better, there's an old extension lead. We'll take the copper out of there. We've got our iron. We've got our zinc. We've got our copper in our extension. Oh, even better, look at that. That's copper. Copper's a very easy to bend, soft, bronzy, coppery coloured metal. So I'll clean that up. We're going to clean that up with a bit of lime and salt. The next thing we want is a container, a couple of containers. I mean, worst case scenario, you could even use an old cup. We'll take that anyway and make a cup of tea when we have a fire. So, believe it or not, with that pile of stuff there, we can make what plasma we need to keep ourselves and Mammy and Granny and whoever else alive, fed and in a good state of health through what might be some mad scenario like your house blowing down. Okay, let's see what we can do. Bye.
Okay, that's the latest information from Tom Salas.
Hi guys. Okay.
Thank you, Tom, for that. Now I've got some pictures from Tom as well, and a long series of paragraphs that he wrote for his Facebook or for Caroline. So I'll read those as well. So let me get the pictures lined up. Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
Hi, Caroline.
Yes, hi. I'm on a stable network now, so I should be able to.
I have an update here from Kayvon. Said that Tom just messaged him and said that he'll be joining us. So he's going to come down the mountain and join the teaching here in maybe half an hour or so.
That would be great.
Okay, I'm wondering if I should read all this.
If that is possible, that would be good. I will wait till Tom comes in and then he can do it live.
Okay, that sounds good.
He can explain the Keshe Foundation knowledge and the application of all the ganses and the nano coating. It's we walk through the path of what he gathered on knowledge through being a knowledge seeker in the first place, then becoming a student, and then becoming a teacher, and then moving away to teach people individual. And now he's gone back to where he initially created such a beautiful plasma environment. And maybe we can ask him questions, Henrik. What we didn't find out up till now, maybe he can share live with us now, maybe a little bit later. So if you see him popping up, we will be more than welcome to join us. Thank you very much, Rick.
All right, great. So we'll hold back on the pictures and the description that he sent then for now.
Yes, please.
And you want to move on to wishes for now then?
Yes. The councils have composed 4 wishes yesterday. We would like to share them with the public.
Okay, let's get that up here. Okay, where are the wishes? Let me see.
We wish you to find the wishes.
I know they've been sent to me somewhere. I just have no idea where. I think they've been sent, or is somebody going to prepare them? Is Ursula, do you have them ready, or who has the wishes?
Yes, already not, but I will send it to you. And Maria, I think she have it also. So we will do it quickly.
This is Moshfek. You can find them in UC Core Zoom chat.
I am present in your wish, Flint.
I'm looking in the chat. I don't see it there yet. Maybe it's in a different chat or something. See, there's two different chats. I don't see it in the other one as well. Is it earlier in the chat somewhere?
Now it's in your chat. If you go in your chat, you will find it.
In my Zoom chat?
Yes.
My Zoom chat. From MOSFEC, I mean.
Rick, you're sharing your desktop. Can you share something else, please?
I think Marie sent that one, not me.
Marie, you sent it to me in my Zoom?
In your Zoom chat just now.
My Zoom chat just now. Okay, you mean in the Zoom here. Okay, I've been looking in the UC chat. Okay, I'm looking at the Zoom chat. I get things from Caroline Priller. I got two guy. Where is the thing in the Zoom chat?
Yes, I've just sent you the wishes, Rick.
Where did you send them?
To your Zoom chat.
My Zoom chat, right here in the Zoom, where it says chat.
Of this meeting, yes.
Oh, okay. It's under Caroline Priller. I didn't know that. And I see them there now. Okay. Okay, let me transfer it over. Okay. Okay, just about there. Just getting the live stream lined up here. Okay, very good. Let me just make sure everything's set here. Okay, I think so. I think everybody should be able to see that. So these are the 4 wishes that were created by
yesterday. by the Universal Council, the Core Team, and the Earth Council. I maybe start with the first one. We wish that all beings find the necessary resources through their souls to meet all their needs in any stressful situation. I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present in those wishes.
I am present.
Yes, I am present.
I am present.
I'm present.
I am 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 present.
Caroline Preller, would you do us the honor to read the second wish, please?
Yes, I will read it. We wish that all souls receive enlightenment for unification through the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation family members. I am present.
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 I'm present.
Chao, would you do us the honor to read the third one, please? Thank you.
Okay. We wish for everlasting abundance of food, clean water, medical supplies, and open channels of delivery in order to sustain all the needs and the tranquility for all beings around the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am
I
present.
am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am
Present.
I am
I am
I am
present.
present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
Sander, would you do us the honor to read wish number 4, please? Thank you.
We, peaceful beings, wish to end any war developments by a few through elevating their souls and showering them with abundance of love and peace. I am present in that wish.
I am present.
I
I am present.
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 Thank you for your presence. Eric, can you move towards the Constitution, please? Have you received the file?
Can I bring, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I bring a wish and what we need to understand? In the past 48 hours, we have had a massive earthquake in Iran's border. I think it's the responsibility of the Keshe Foundation.
Mr. Keshe, can you adjust your mic? I think if the cord is loose. It was on there for a moment, but now we're having a really hard time.
You're going to have to repeat again, Mehran. We didn't understand you.
No?
Not yet, no.
You're not coming through, Mehran. Just 1 second, Vince. Maybe I can solve the problem. Just one moment. Mr. Keshe is on his way. Just one moment.
Thank you, Caroline. I know what he was going to say was going to be extremely important, so we want to hear him clearly.
Yeah, it's the opening of the reasoning of the wishes. I thought maybe this would be coming on the table after the Constitution. Why these wishes were composed yesterday. Just one moment, Vince is on his way. He's going to have to come on my phone. Just one moment.
Yes, sorry about that. We have a
Thank
problem
you.
with network. Okay. What has happened? We have had a massive 7.3 earthquake in the border of Iran, Iraq. Some 500 loss of lives and thousands injured. I think we could help and support the soul of those who are in the crisis in this region. And as I said, Keshe Foundation in Iran, we have a large support group in Iran and in Middle East. If you can respond, Keshe Foundation will support any needs that might be needed in that border. We have already offered our support to the Iranian government if they would like to take advantage of the situation for us to be able to support internally. And at the same time, there is a second wish. As we went through Togo, there is a structure set up for war that it needs our sole support to divert this war. If it happens and the way it looks, they're planning to do it, can bring horrendous killings and pressures as we've seen in the past few years when it happens, this kind of conflict. This conflict is getting fired and is getting supported to create a war between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And the strangest thing is two Muslim nations at each other's throat. Maybe those of you who understand what this can mean, it needs a lot of support for all of us and a lot of giving to the Iranian leaders and the Saudi leaders and those who are behind instigating this war. It needs the wisdom and it needs the support of both Earth Council and Universal Council in totality. Many have died in the past few months in this region in a diverted war, but now it seems to be, it might change into direct conflict. And we wish, we hope, and my wish is that the two sides come to understand. They both live in the same path of belief, and this unnecessary war can be stopped. And I wish and I hope that the councils will give their support to both the disaster in Iran, the people who are suffering, and for the soul of those leaders who are planning unnecessary conflict, which there is no need for it, And Keshe Foundation is making every effort in the background with the people who are in position to influence these conditions to work with us to divert this unnecessary conflict which is boiling to the top. Thank you very much.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I'm present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I'm present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
This was the reason why these wishes were composed yesterday. And I said I would not explain until the wishes came on the table in public. So Mr. Keshe could add why these wishes yesterday were constructed. Now you understand and realize the importance. And it's not only apparently that Iran has been hit, but also Japan, apparently, and one of the islands that, just 1 second, I have a feedback. Okay, that's better, I think. Sorry for that. To support all those souls in their path, which we have seen. That's why the video and the explanation of Tom came first, to show that we as a Keshe family can make the difference. We can put our shoulders, as our knowledge is so important to share with so many people to or sustain life, to look after every single one. We do not miss a single soul which are getting affected by this path. Has anyone any questions, please? Or has anyone more information about the situation, about the other earthquakes at this moment? Has anyone found more information about the situation maybe in Japan or in the island or from Iran?
I don't see any earthquake around Japan or China right now.
Apparently, Jamal posted it in Facebook that there was earthquake 0.7 in Japan. So that's the reason why we are, it's normal. It's the shift of from summer to winter. So Earth is doing its natural process. So the earthquakes are going to come up more frequently in different places. The one in Iran was shallow. That's why there is so much damage. It is the line which was explained in the previous teachings and explanations of Mr. Keshe. So we will see a wave, and
I see a 5.8. It happened yesterday in the Japan region there in that trench.
yeah, the information about earthquakes has slowed down a little bit because we went through the summer. So everything went quiet. But now it's all going to kickstart again because of the change of the environment and the change of the fields, which is normal. So we are on our guard, we are alert, and that's why we already created the wishes to support so many before, and the ones which have already been touched by this devastation. And if anyone among you knowledge seekers, as Mr. Keshe requested, have any connections with Iran and the border or the neighboring country, it will be more than welcome to be in touch with us so we can see what we can create as a support. Maybe later on in the presentation, people will come with more information. So maybe we can go to the next step and open up the Constitution, please, Rick. Have you received the file?
Yes, I have that.
Thank you. Sorry for the confusion, Rick, but yesterday I wasn't able to send you more data.
No problem. Okay, here's the... Here we go. So this is the constitution of the blue planet Earth, or the one nation, one planet, one race.
Yes, the reason people have checked it in the background, they're very busy translating. A lot of people are working on this constitution, and it has been embraced by so many souls. And the reactions are very, very promising and very appreciative. And people start seeing the connections. The reason why I brought it forward here pardon, is to open it up paragraph by paragraph so that we can, as knowledge seekers, as we have worked on the blueprint of peace for such a long time, we know and we all have come to understand that if we work by paragraph of understanding and we allow knowledge seekers or public who haven't grasped what the exact meaning is or the interpretation, that we can exchange thoughts and come all to one level of understanding and embed it and create the field strength which is needed for it to manifest. And as souls, we have seen so much changes. We have received so many confirmations that we as a family can make the change. That's the reason why I brought the Constitution forward, for us to start working globally on it, that it can start manifesting where we want it to be. But we always have to take into account that maybe people have questions. So there are core members present, there are Earth Council members present, there are Universal Council members present, there are knowledge seekers present, and the public is more than welcome to share our vision of what we are about to set as a milestone for humanity. As one and in unification, we will bring the change because we will manifest it through our love, care, and support. So, Rick, if you can read the first paragraph, please.
Hi, hi, Carolina.
Wayne, you're present.
This Wayne. I sent Rick a new copy. We just changed it yesterday. There's some changes on yesterday's. I sent it to Rick through emails and also on the Zoom. If you this is the
this is the old one?
Yes, the old one. I have the updated yesterday.
Okay, we will give you, take all your time, Rick, to find it.
Okay, we've got the new one up now, I believe. should be it.
Thank you.
Let me make it bigger.
There has been a big earthquake in Costa Rica, 6.5, 2 hours ago.
Thank you for sharing.
That hits Central America, right where the hinge is.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Costa Rica is in the smallest place in South America where North and South America are joined. This is John here. I don't know if my microphone is playing up.
No, it's perfect. Or I can at least hear you very, very good.
Okay, shall we read the Constitution?
Yes, then we can come back to the, as people are collecting more information, we can work on it.
Okay. So this is the Earth Council Constitution. The Earth Council has been created to guarantee that by giving equal rights to all beings, there shall never be another conflict or war on this planet and beyond by any and amongst all created beings and citizens. The end of war and establishment of peace will be achieved through the understanding of the potential of all created beings. The path forward for peace must be to bring the understanding that solutions are achieved through dialogue and elevation of the soul of the opponent, rather than through degradation or demeaning another's soul or physical existence. Now, would you like to discuss this paragraph first, Caroline, or shall we continue?
If we can ask the knowledge seekers or the public if they have any questions about this paragraph, the first one, please. Has this paragraph been fully understood, please? Before Rick goes to the second paragraph.
Pete has a question. Is it a single war or wars? The sentence starting the end of war. The end of war and establishment of peace.
War, I think it is any war now or in the past or in the future as we created it. In our wish, we have covered this part because, as Mr. Keshe has shared, window on this, we have just created the wish and make sure everything went under that umbrella. But it's always open for discussion, and people in the background are taking notice of what can be suggested. That's why we are asking people if they have any questions or
Thinking maybe you might want to put in the end of all war or all wars, one or the other. Might take care of that comment.
you got to understand, Rick, it has been written like in a wish condition. If you confirm, then it means the end of war, anyone, anywhere, any war on this planet. Is that correct, Wayne?
Yeah, this way, yes. We don't want any conflicts at all. It's just from now on.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. Anyone else? Vince, do you see any questions popping up on Facebook, please? Can you hear me, Vince?
I just checked myself and there's nothing there right now.
Yeah, I was looking, but it was taking time to load.
Okay, thank you very much. You can proceed, Rick, to the second part, please.
Okay. Peace has to be the goal of every move of the existence of every being on this planet. The Council will be the flag bearer of this motion to create an environment where peace can be achieved on Earth. Peace must be the cornerstone of existence amongst those who are from this planet and/or choose to live on this planet, as well as for those who are from Earth and choose to live in space. Earth has to become the cradle of peace for the evolution of all races.
Any questions from anyone? In the meantime, I noticed that people are posting in the chat. I will take care of the chat later on. I read your chats as we are going through it. So it will be discussed later on. Thank you. Nobody, any questions? Is it being fully understood? You know, the beautiful thing to add to the last sentence, if I may, Earth has to become the cradle of peace for the evolution of all races. If anyone has understood, there is a say, the hand that rocks the cradle rocks the world. So if we take responsibility to look and to care and to nourish all species for the evolution, then we will have the peace and the calmness because we took responsibility. And if each soul takes that point of responsibility that he will put his hand on the cradle of peace, it will be absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Because this say came from when you have a child is usually sleeping in a cradle. When the hand of the mother or the father or the parents is rocking the cradle to keep the baby comfortable, it means you garden him, you nourish him, you don't put him out of your hands in the care of somebody else. It means you take full responsibility. That's the meaning of the hand on the cradle. If there are no questions, can we move on to the next one, please?
Okay, that sounds good. We, the Earth Council, acknowledge that Earth is a part of the solar system, galaxy, universe, and all the unicos. As such, the planet Earth needs to become a part of the cycle of creation by supporting the planet and all the beings that live on her to elevate themselves past the current cycle of evolution to a more fulfilling and peaceful existence. We acknowledge Mother Earth as itself a living entity that has her own soul.
Any questions, please?
I'm having trouble with the second sentence. It just seems kind of not worded right or something. As such, the planet Earth needs to become a part of the cycle of creation by supporting the planet. I don't understand that. Isn't planet Earth already a part of the cycle of creation? And how does the planet Earth support the planet? Is it different? Is the planet Earth different than supporting the planet?
That might be a notification for Wayne, because we will adjust the Constitution to become and take its perfect form. So thank you for noticing, Rick.
I think it could be just a little smoother in that sentence and it would be fine. Just probably a couple of words changed or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any input on that?
Are you taking notes, Wade?
Change
yes.
Planet Earth there to humans.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. We allow the Earth Council to meet and to carry out corrections, because from next week on, we will present the Constitution in different languages for them to penetrate through the understanding of the culture and the vibration of every single soul on this planet, that it doesn't stop here by limiting only to be in English. So by next week, we still are working on the composition to make it perfectly okay by next week. Then it goes into the different languages as presented.
It could be altered like similar to what was already suggested. It could be as such, the people of planet Earth need to become part of the cycle of creation, etc. That could work perhaps. Okay, shall we carry on to the next paragraph?
Yes, please.
Goes from every atom to all plants, animals, humans, insects, microbes, and more, and all those yet to be discovered, are souls which share the essence of the Creator, as well as the fields of planet Earth. Together we combine to make up the collective soul of the planet.
Any input from anyone?
Don't see anything special at this end.
Okay.
Okay, let's carry on. We acknowledge all other beings on this planet need to be supported, nurtured, and allowed to thrive in peace, including animals, plants, ecosystems, and other unseen beings, as well as Mother Earth herself. All will be supported to grow and thrive, as this will, in turn, enhance the lives not only on this planet, but all of the totality, as we acknowledge we are part of the whole. Okay, well, that seems to be accepted. Mutual cooperation, collaboration, sharing, and contribution to the well-being of all should be the core undertaking of the Earth Council. Our aim is to support the planet as a whole and every being that lives here.
How about and every being that lives in the planet?
Every input is valuable. And Wayne is taking notice, so we can work on it when we go into the meeting.
Okay, and the last sentence here is, we will serve to create an environment of nurturing and harmony in which all beings may grow and thrive in their own unique way. Okay, I'm not sure if this is continuing or do we can carry on with it, Caroline? With the six members of the Earth?
Has anyone any questions about the Earth Council?
I have a comment about that last sentence.
That's no problem, Dr. Guata. If you put it in the chat, Wayne will pick it up and then they will be adjusted.
Okay, I just wanted to point out, we will serve means we are not serving now. So how about we are here to serve?
That's taken in notice. That's why we are asking the public and the knowledge seekers the comments if they see where we can make it more perfect and adjusted, that we cover everything.
Another way might be, we are serving to create an environment. Makes it more affirmative as well.
Or we serve, yes.
Yes, or just simply we serve would probably be best. Okay.
Any questions in the background, please, about?
I think we're good on this end.
Okay, thank you very much, Rick. Thank you, Earth Council, for your presentation. Now I'm going to go back to the part where this got posted, that it seems that all these earths shaking are signs of the separation of the American continent. If so, will the west coast of Africa be hit by the sea, because here many people live in front of the sea? I do not know if you have or how long you are already part of the Keshe Foundation or as a knowledge seeker, but I think our team will be more than happy to bring the links of the presentations where Mr. Keshe has explained in depth how nature is taking its course. It is a natural phenomenon, and there you can find where you are, you can orientate where and how the earth will move and what kind of process and steps it will take. We know, we are more than aware of it. I see that Sander has already posted the link, so maybe you can post it also in the Facebook chat if somebody can copy it and make sure that everyone who is taking or who is present in this presentation can copy the link, please do go and have a look. As council members, Earth Council and core team, we are more than aware of this teaching. We have comprehended fully, and this is why we are working so heavy on soul level to cover the souls, because we can do it. We can support. We can't change the path of Mother Nature. We can't change the path of Mother Earth. She's a planet. She is going through changes, which she has done for centuries. It's not something new. But Mr. Keshe explained very clearly where and in what kind of sequence, and it will be a repetitive pattern every time there is a season change, because he explained also why and how, if you don't understand this. We will see earthquakes coming up again in most probably Italy, and California will also start reacting. And you are indeed right with this kind of question, because it is explained. And it's been explained quite a long time ago. How old is this video, Sander? Do you know when this presentation came out?
I don't remember well the date. 2015?
Yeah, because the first warnings came out when we were still in Belgium about Japan, Fukushima. We were trying to broadcast as much as we could to inform the public and the people that it is in the path. So this is going to be a repeat, because we're going back into the winter. So if there is any need anywhere, we can be there. If you have understood what Tom presented last week, the difference between the devastation picture and the flowers in the garden around his mother's house, then you know what you can achieve with this knowledge and with your caring and with your intent. Then you bring the souls under your protection and your guide, and you can do it. We can do it. And that's what we're all working to unite, to make sure that we are dispersing sufficient enough unification to have as many souls to work in this kind of direction of the path to support. Anyone has any questions, please?
Line.
Yes.
I would like to add, all the coast of the west coast of South America is all shallow coast, so it'll be in a pretty mess up if South America moves over to Africa, together with Africa.
Have you seen this presentation of Mr. Keshe, where the map of the earth came really beautiful in display, and that he was drawing on the map of the earth?
It was maybe the 77th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of 2015, September 3rd.
Yes, I did.
It was a 5 hours, 22 minutes workshop. And Mr. Keshe started to talk about upcoming earthquakes from the minute 56.
There is another one I remember where, do you remember, Vince, where the map?
Yeah, it was like June of 2016.
That was in February too. It was the 100th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. I'm trying to open in background some and to look at it, which one contains that.
Because there people really get a beautiful view of their position and where and what is going to, and it's not gonna, he also explained it's gonna come in stages. It's not that, but the earthquakes will increase in strength. So majority, we start seeing them coming at 7. And I had a conversation with Mr. Keshe, and maybe on Thursday you can ask more information about this, but they will start increasing to 8, 9, and some parts we will see an increase up to 10. So these are not small earthquakes anymore. And if you can find the link of that one, it is well explained why these and how they will increase in their strength, these earthquakes. So as humanity, the ones which have seen those informations, that's why we are in such a high speed of working, teaching, sharing, and making sure the knowledge seekers are prepared. That's why you see the change in the Keshe Foundation is that you can notice that the increase of teachers, the increase of students, the increase of the information, the openness of Mr. Keshe to work on soul level, so we can cover all souls. We can cover any position because we are learning the path how to achieve it. And that's why your presence is so important for you to be there to cover as many souls under your wings to support. Don't wait, don't hesitate. As I have requested before, at the beginning of this platform of teaching on Tuesday, for the knowledge seekers to start mapping out where there are resources, where people in case of emergency, where they can go. Don't keep them all in one place. Make sure there are different points where people know that they can get to. Make sure it is shared among as many knowledge seekers in each region. It doesn't matter where you are on this planet, but to open and to make sure you're an open source for people to come in. Make the information available that people can find their way to the points where it's needed. So come out of the shadows, make yourself publicly known, or at least to where you desire to be known in public. Share your knowledge and make sure the Keshe Foundation gets the feedback that at least we can help by directing, because you become a really reliable point of knowledge, teaching, or maybe having already built up a stock of Ganses to support for what is about to come. And it would be really nice for you to start sharing, to go to apply for being a teacher, or to apply for a different section, which maybe the Keshe Foundation can make an opening for that people can come and leave their information. You know, I have this much, I can help so many people, and I have this as at my disposition. This would be really nice as knowledge seekers to come and to share it in private to the foundation. So when we get the requests from people, no matter where they are, that we can direct them to the pivot points if you don't want to be known by public. But it will be nice because we're all working underneath through our media connections to share. We are sharing openly, but at least when we know there is a crisis somewhere, or there is an upheaval, or there is a natural disaster, we know where to direct, where to help people very fast. As in the exact same case with Tom, we knew who to talk to and to support, to send him in. All the new support members which have come up to go into this kind of stress zones as supporters, as teachers, we go and we take an interview to know exactly what your capabilities are, what your knowledge is, what you can support, where you can support, then for the foundation to be fully standing behind you to send you out as a support knowledge seeker. So if you have qualification that you think you might or you can, feel free to go through our channels to make contact with one of any of our knowledge seekers, we will show you the path, or go to webmaster in the Keshe Foundation and make your desire openly to the Keshe Foundation so we can place you. Any questions, please? Yes, that map is very beautiful, the way he explained. Was this the link you posted, Sander, or is this a new link?
This is another one. There are many. It was also in the 100th Knowledge Seeker Workshop of February 11th, 2016.
The one you showed before.
Yes.
Can you bring that one forward, please?
Just a second. I went over 7 others. So the first one, it was the 77th Knowledge Seekers Workshop without illustration.
Yeah, and then he brought the map on the table.
That with the map, I found it in the 100th Knowledge Seeker Workshop. Just let me get a link to put in the chat. So maybe we can open that and share it.
It just appeared in the screen and then it disappeared. That's why I said, that's the one. And then I got this one. But it's the other one I want to see, because that was on his tablet. He was drawing on it. Yes, this one with that picture with all, no. Go down. Yeah, that one where that picture appears. He is very specific in the whole sequence. And then he did another teaching very shortly after this. And people can find a lot of information. Because at that time, we start urging the knowledge seekers to move if they were able to move away. Or as Tom has shown, to work through the knowledge, through the ganses, to create.
So the next workshop, it was just the following, the 101st Knowledge Seekers Workshop of 2016, February 18th, starting with about 25-26 minutes from the beginning. So there are more news about earthquakes and showing the executive order article, USGS earthquake map. There were then questions about the second sun and so on, and more earthquake news at 1 o'clock.
This picture, I have posted and reposted this link quite a few times, but I cannot go on my phone. I'm limited to go and copy links because it will take me ages to get there. But I remembered in this presentation, it will guide people to realize what and how, what is about to come. It's not going to be, as Mr. Keshe said, it will go into stages. Every time we change season, it will, something is moving because it's a natural phenomenon. And nobody is creating it. Nobody is making it chaotic or to put fear among people. It's just explained something. I compared this kind of information with the explanation, you know, in the time people are still searching for the clues and the knowledge why the dinosaurs disappeared or why certain things moved on this planet.
Unfortunately, dinosaurs had no space program. And the conditions, yes, and the conditions of living are changing. As the sun and the whole solar system has a movement of approaching and departing rhythmically toward or from the central sun of the galaxy, in the same way the strength of the gravitational magnetical strengths are changing. And these periods, these oscillations are natural, just a man's lifetime is too short to observe it, to be obvious. But always it happens something that it changes. And then the life forms, some life forms cannot withstand the new conditions, and other life forms can do it. Now we have such a conditions with such a huge animals like mammoths or like dinosaurs cannot be supported on the planet. So what would be if the solar system will go much closer to the central sun of the galaxy? So who will be able to survive? The smaller body animals like rats and cockroaches. How about animals of the size of man? So we need, by all means, a space program. So one of the ways to survive these changes is to move from one place to another, to find another one where to find proper conditions.
But I think it came very clear in Mr. Keshe's teachings in the last 3-4 weeks that we don't need necessarily to move. We need to work with our knowledge and through our soul to create the conditions as we are capable of. And Tom is the most perfect example. I have asked Carrie to bring, she has had this kind of same experience, and because I had a conversation with her, and she said, I only realized what happened to us after Tom showed the difference between the devastation pictures and the way the garden up in the mountain was preserved through the ganses. No more, no less. And she said, I realized the importance of the message of Tom. And I asked her, if she's online, I don't know, to give us the information of what she experienced. And I think there are a lot of more knowledge seekers which have footage or pictures or have knowledge of something they have been in a safer position than if they would have not been a knowledge seeker, and if they wouldn't have applied the ganses or the plasma or the maggraph systems. And we would like people to start coming forward with this kind of information, because it will make clear to everyone that we can make the change. And the more we are going and working in the same path, as this is the platform to create world peace, we are not only considering where the upheavals are in regarding the war or racism or any other problem which is present at this moment in our knowledge. We are here to work together to create the new path by understanding that we are all capable to create the changes, to put them in place as exactly as Tom did. And I'm so grateful that I met Tom. I had the chance and the opportunity to follow on his path. But I knew he was a free soul, and I knew by letting him free, letting him go, that he would bring the gift back. Because in so many ways, he was very creative and always open and willing to share. And now we saw his beauty of his work. And if every single knowledge seeker can understand what has been achieved just by creating the fields. And because he's connected to the field strength with his mom, he always stayed connected, even from that very far distance. And the proof is there. So if we start analyzing by going through this video of Mr. Keshe explaining where the upheavals are going to come, we are prepared as souls. So it cannot overtake us in surprise, but we can already start working around the clock, making sure that these protective zones are in place. By teaching people, informing them, by bringing the knowledge among, and through the councils and through our creating of our wishes to create the fields. Are there any questions of people who want to know more how to achieve this? Or can share their own experience, please?
I have a question, Caroline.
Your name, please.
My name is Boniface from California. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome.
We were Constitution. I think we went through like a page. I'm just curious, are we going to continue or has it been postponed or what's what?
Can you repeat again? I didn't understand you fully.
We were just working, Rick was reading through it.
Yes.
For comments.
You want to go
we
back
have
to
switched to something else. I thought that's what we were going to. Was that not the plan?
No, you can go back to it with pleasure, no problem. Because we asked and we give each one enough time and nobody came forward, so...
Yeah, he thinks that we had more to go through on the document, but it was only that part with those wishes that was to be shown today, correct? Or that was the only part that there's more
Wayne,
to...
that was the complete constitution. Did we miss anything?
Yes, that's the updated from yesterday.
So this was the complete version of the constitution, yes?
But there's several pages after that, though. Let me go back to it. I'll show you.
Wayne, is this for publication or to be shared, or is it just where we stopped that was supposed to be shared?
No, if you want to continue, go through it for comments and suggestions, and because it's always fluid. Yes, it's about 13 pages.
Because we asked the questions, me and Rick, and nobody responded. So that's why we moved to the...
Well, there's the thing about it is there's several other sections here. There's the 6 members of the Earth Council. There is the Earth Council mandate. There is... well, there's a number of pages. Decision-making process, invitation, addendum. So we've already gone through this before, but we could go through it again. Actually, parts of it we went through before. I'm not sure if we went through the whole thing. I don't think we did.
Was this your wish for this to be opened up completely, or because this will be coming available on the website, correct, Rick?
I don't know if it's on the website yet. I think it's supposed to be put on the website. I'm not sure if it is. Vince, do you know about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Because shortly before the public teaching started today, Mr. Keshe said that it was in the process of getting uploaded.
And translated also in every language.
Yeah, the transcribers are working on it, but it's going to have to be adjusted as we went through certain points that maybe can be small adjustments. So it will take a little bit time. Just give us a little bit of your patience for it to come as a complete, perfect file. We always know when we go into publication that there are sometimes little adjustments necessary. So Vince, can you confirm if it is in public yet or not?
I don't have an answer for you yet.
Okay. Maybe before we close down, I will... Is Stanley in the background? Maybe he knows.
Can I make a comment again? Barnack is here.
Yes, sure.
When it was read, when it was unveiled last week by Dr. Rodrigo,
yeah,
I went through the document again myself, just using the screen print, and I wrote a memo to the Earth Council about some of the issues that I saw in there. So basically, the reason why I asked my question was I didn't know if it's been read or if it's been considered or not. But if they're in the process of working through the document, my wish is just that they would take a look at it and give it some consideration. That's all.
Wayne, have you seen the email popping up from this gentleman?
Yes, we will, when we have the meetings, we will share this document with our 6 members, and we can go from there to see exactly what it is in it. We receive his email.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so when we are complete, then we will, when it's finished, it will come into public. If it's not there, it has its reasons that maybe it's not completed yet. So give us a little bit of your patience, because all the teams and the transcribers and the Earth Council are working on it. So give them a little bit more room. It was the first presentation in public, and we wanted to be as perfect as possible. Just give us a little bit more time. Maybe by Thursday, it will appear in its perfect shape and form. And maybe not, maybe we'll still have something to be added or to be considered. So just give us a little bit of your patience. As Wayne has confirmed, they have received your email or from anyone else. So they need to go first into the meeting, which has not taken place yet. Wayne has already adjusted some of the text configuration, and I'm very thankful. So we could bring it again in public, and it will not disappear anymore until it comes as an established paper on our website. Just give us a little bit more time. Thank you very much.
Hello, Caroline. This is Willie from Norway. May I speak?
Hello, Willie. Welcome. Yes, for sure.
Thank you. I just want to, or wish to add a little comment to the earthquakes, because there is a guy who makes weekly earthquake forecasts, and he does daily updates to those forecasts. And it might just give some of the people in the zones where the earthquakes appear some hours or even some days to be prepared for what's coming. And I've been following this guy for at least the last 7 years, and he's about 80-85% correct every time, or like 80-85% of what he says goes through. So if anyone wants to follow up on those forecasts, Rick just Newcomb just posted his link in the chat. His name is Dutch Sins on YouTube channel, and very good to know that information. It's not to scare people, it's to warn them.
Yeah, prevention can do and bring a lot of relief. Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah, and I must just, he warned about the Iran-Iraq earthquake 7 days ago. That it was expected, and even the Costa Rican one. So
we are following his work, and we are always in touch with his work. It's just that we don't want to make huge, how can we say, we don't want to go scaremongering to know
yeah.
what. And this is the last thing we want, but we want to be informative, we want to be aware. And we know if we have a preview and we have an understanding of the pattern of nature, the way Mr. Keshe has presented in his several YouTube videos and teachings, people can be more prepared, and maybe we can all step up to make sure that these regions, we can send some knowledge seekers in, or we can start looking for connection to at least make the knowledge available for people which are there present. Because it is impossible to move millions and millions of people. It is an unbelievable task, even for governments. But on soul level, we can reach all of them. And if we can work through that channel of understanding, we will really serving our purpose to unify mankind. To at least take in consideration that it's not because it's so far away from our home, it has nothing to do with us. I think everyone understood that this is impossible. It's your own responsibility to look around where you can, as we say, put your hands out, roll your sleeves up and see where we can support and what we can do. And we have so many thousands of knowledge seekers. If we all start moving and look around where we can expand with what we have been given as a gift, it will create miracles. It will create wonders that will even astonish all of us, as we have seen the proof not to hesitate to give, as in Togo, in Niger, in Dominica. We have seen so much changes. In Australia, we have already start making the waves, so we can at least, by realizing that we are the change, start creating the waves, but with love and peace. And thank you, Willie, for your sharing. It is very valuable because they have nearly a week for people which are following, which are on top of it, which understand what's going on. We can start maneuvering, we can start working and putting our attention through the councils to be more on high alert, to create the dome of peace and the elevation. Because
yes.
we can do it.
Thank you. And
you're welcome.
I just saw Justin Smith posted in the chat that Tom's account is opened. So he should be online, I think.
Is he here with Jurek, or is he in Flint or Vince's side? I don't know.
I just brought him in here.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Tom. Welcome.
Saying I'm muted. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. We already seen your video. We have already enjoyed your video. Beautiful. Thank you.
Great. You're very welcome. Wow, that was a challenge getting online. I'm on a relatively new computer, and for the first time ever, I just wasn't able to turn the thing on. For 15 minutes there, I've been struggling with it. So I don't know if that was a collective effort to get me online, but it worked. Thank you. So I'm here.
We wished you to be here, so you shouldn't have hesitated.
Wonderful.
Have you been able to read your message in Messenger, please?
I've only just switched up and switched on, so you can let me know right now if you want.
Okay.
Let's see.
What do you have for us to share on knowledge?
Well, yeah, I've been here in Dominica now, the little Dominica, not the big one. This is the Commonwealth of Dominica, not the Republic of Dominica. And I hope you can hear me okay. I'm in a hotel.
You're perfect.
Great.
You're perfect.
It's the only place I can get on a signal, so I've been wanting to get on earlier than this, but here we go. So yeah, I've been here for a week, and it's pretty amazing to see, really. The place is just devastated, and I arrived at the top of the island, and I came into the airport. Bags all got left in Trinidad or somewhere. I've got them now, thankfully. But we drove down right through the island, and it's an island I know very well because I lived here for 10 or more years. And I couldn't recognize where I was driving through the island. It's just been decimated. It's like, it's a pristine rainforest all the way through top to bottom, and every tree had nothing green on it. It was amazing and shocking. Basically, I went through a roller coaster of emotions. You're amazed at first, then sets in shock, then sets in a kind of a helplessness. For me, it was seeing the devastation of the nature. I just felt it's such a rich island, and suddenly it's just gone back to zero. Now you can't even hear a bird sing. There's nothing. There's no wildlife. It's gone. And I can see now there are tiny little signs of life starting to creep into the island, but it was crazy to see, really crazy, and feeling that force of nature and what it can do was just amazing. So after this sort of feeling of helplessness comes the depression. You don't know what to do. You're just sort of walking in circles saying, wow, I don't even know where. As you can see, we're looking at those pictures there. And at first you want to just photograph it and share it with the world. And I've stopped doing it now. Anywhere you point your camera, you can just see some shocking image that you know would interest people. And I've stopped doing it because I realize I'm creating a kind of an atmosphere where we need positivity here. I can feel it's just vital that we send positive vibes in the place now and don't focus on what's happened. Let's focus on the solutions. So after basically what everybody's doing is they're just walking around scratching their heads, looking at a lot of work that needs doing, rebuilding the island. It's been completely set back to zero. And so people are just totally in a state of shock, and even the cleanup job is amazingly slow because everyone, as you can see in these pictures here, this is what everybody's yard looked like. And you're just facing this pile of garbage and debris that you've got to know where to move it to. And if you move it from there to there, is it just going to is it going to rain and blow it back into my yard? And everyone's facing this same weird feeling of just overwhelmed with the amount of work that's got to happen. So I've been around and about. I've been top to bottom on the island. I haven't been able to get over to the other side of the island that was affected the most badly yet. And they tell me over there is very terrible. And they also tell me what we're looking at now is 100 times better than how it was 1 month ago, which to me is unbelievable. But so what I decided to do, I've been scratching my head about the best way to sort of formulate a little plan here. And I think going to the farmers is the most simplest way to access into the people, because it is a place where it's known as the nature island of the Caribbean, and it's agriculture is a big part of its economy along with tourism. So I figured, well, let's go and speak to the farmers, and the simplest thing that I could think of to show them, to give them almost like an instant access point to the plasma technology, would to be show them what we can do with seawater and how we can transfer the elements that are in the ocean and put them into their plasmatic state. And that's almost an instant plasma you create when you do that one. So I started there. I put together a workshop. That picture there you're looking at right now, that's in these guys' homestead, where it's just 2 shacks that they have to put back up after the hurricane. And there we are making plasma in that environment there. We've got displaced families in the same area too, who were sticking their heads in when they could to pick up the knowledge. And but you're not working you're not doing a workshop in some nice government building somewhere. You can see the environment that we're working in.
Can you explain what you're doing in this picture? It's interesting. You have a syringe, I see.
Yeah, sure. What we did was we first made the ocean water GANs, and so in that process, I talked them through the change that we're making from the matter into the nano liquid, and then it pops out into the plasma. So that was my introduction point. And as soon as these guys watched me do that once, they were like, wow, so what else can you do? And I said, well, okay, if you want to open up the information of any herb that's in your garden, you can do it in the same way. I just took with me all my tools that I took basically were 3 liters of ocean water, a jar of sodium hydroxide, and a syringe and a container that we could make the plasma in. So once we'd made the seawater plasma, they were like, so you can put a herb in there and that's going to open the information of the herb too. And I said, yeah. Boom, and they were off to grab moringa. I said, boy, okay, we need moringa in there. So I said, okay, well, go ahead and let's see, you do it now. So I just put it into their hands. And these guys are not scientists. These are country guys who, you know, then they haven't gone through a bit like me, really. I didn't go through the formal education thing. And in some respects, that's a blessing, because you're not tainted with existing, what should we say, the existing standards that our education gives us. This stuff's not in it. So these guys just ran with the info. As soon as I got the basics across to them. And what was lovely was they saw what I was teaching them on a much more profound level than a lot of people who I've taught to. And because they were seeing this as you can see, these guys are Rastafarians, most of them, and they live very natural lives. They already don't bother with pharmaceuticals. They already know how to rich up their earth and using their manures and their composts. They know all this stuff already. So as I started explaining that they're already working with plasma and nanotech when they're working with their ashes and all that, and it just made perfect sense to them. And they viewed it like that I was just expanding on what they already know, but they saw that we were creating, and in the same way we've all been created on the planet we're on, and the star that we have closest to us, our sun, and they could see it, and they were in absolutely no resistance that what we were doing here was understanding creation. And they saw that on a very mystic level, and it really wasn't like a science lesson. It was like much deeper. For example, looking at this, you're still hearing me, right? I'm still online.
Yes, continue.
Okay, great. Just want to check. So you see this guy in the white shirt there, in the white vest, sitting on the side. What these guys there are doing is they're syringing off the caustic water and putting it into that container there, and instantly they're realizing that in there is some sort of now cleaning fluid, or it can be made into a soap, and you know, I was letting them know that this is caustic and stuff, and we need to be careful and maybe not handle it. The guy in the white vest there, boom, his hand went straight in it. He's like, I know what's happening here. His hand went in it, and he was instantly playing with the soapiness of it and smelt it, and his face just lit up. And he said, "You know what that smells like?" He said, and I'm sorry if this is no, I can talk about this stuff, you're all grown-ups. He said, "This just smells like sperm." And there was a light bulb went on at that moment in time. We all giggled, but you know, they started realizing that, wow, we're dealing with the elements, we're dealing with creation, we're dealing with the same substances that we're made of, that we come from, you know, and they clicked on a deep level as to what we were doing. And it was beautiful. It was like, you know, it really transcended a little science lesson, and they just started connecting the dots between what they know already and what I was teaching them there. And you could just see it was a light bulb moment for everyone that was there, and they just couldn't wait to run with it. And I couldn't teach them fast enough then, you know. It was like they were just hungry for the information. And so now you've got a bunch of guys who've got the basics under their belt. I mean, we worked through that instant way of making plasma. I guess, I don't know what the video you just showed is, but it might be the one where I essentially just tossed some copper into a fire and then connected it up to whatever trash I could find. And so I showed them that technique of working with the plates and how we can work with the elements and the metals and so on to create plasmas we want. And they were just, it was beautiful, man. They were just off and running with the info. So you've got a bunch of guys now that are working with the plasma, and the first thing they're going to do is try and get their crops going again, because right now they're looking at flattened fields where they previously had crops, you know. So it's beautiful. It's really nice.
Tom, thank you for sharing. Tom, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How big is the garden around your mom's house? The beautiful pictures you give us about all the flowers and the nature being intact.
Ah, you saw them. Yeah, that was lovely. It was really nice to arrive back home and just say, oh man, I've just seen, if you speak to anybody on the island and you say, were you okay? What happened to you? 99% will say, yeah, my roof's gone. The other 1% will say, yeah, we lost somebody. But I haven't met a single person yet that this hasn't affected, apart from my mum. And we got up there, and it's not that the place was absolutely untouched, but what was weird was it's on about 1.25 acres.
Wow.
Yeah. And what I quickly could see was like where there wasn't a leaf left on any tree around, but there were flowers in this garden, and it was just weird. Like, it was weird. And
Tom, have you shared those pictures with the people you're teaching the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation? Have you shown them the surroundings of the garden around your mom's house for them to realize what they can create on the lower levels of the island, or even cover the whole island with this?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to take my computer with me when I was showing these guys stuff. So I've taken pictures around the garden that you've received, and I've been able to give them an image of just about everything I was speaking of. You know, I've been able to show them how the garden was and how the house is intact. And this is a bit, it's a little advanced to be able to try and start going there and saying you can create a protective dome over it. But the more we spoke and the more we got through the workshop, is the more that they realized that that's very, very real. And these are people that are very, they're very simple, but they believe in the mystics of life. So it's not a problem for them to know that that is a possibility, you know. And so, yeah, I was able to show them the images of the garden and the house. I've been able to show them the images of all the work I've been doing with capturing the plasma fields on the ice. I was able to show them the images of my animals that we've treated just with plasma. I guess maybe some of you have seen those images. And we've turned dead and dying animals into animals with too much energy. And yeah, they get it. They get it. They totally get it. And what was nice was, yeah, right, there you go. Look, those plants are just standing. They've taken over 200-mile-an-hour winds. And what I've learned is the hurricane that hit here was categorized as a Category 5. But I've learned that Category 5 is the top category, and there isn't anything above that. But actually, if it was going by wind speeds, what they got here was a Category 7. The categories stop at 5 because they say that the wind can't do anything else. If between a 200-mile-an-hour wind and a 300-mile-an-hour wind, they say it's going to do the same damage. Personally, I don't agree with that, but I don't know. So we were looking at a Category 7 hurricane. So just seeing flowers in the garden was like unreal. But when I've chatted to my mum about it, and she says, well, you should know as well that I've been putting plasma in the paint. It's not just in the garden. She's painted her house with plasma. She's got devices in the home. She's got she's been spraying all around with the plasmas that I left there, you know. So it's in everything. The fields are well ingrained into the whole place. So it's beautiful. I mean, what nicer testament is there than that? Just to see that stuff, you know, and to be able to show these guys.
Yeah, this is the first thing I said. I hope Tom has realized what he's been showing us and sharing them with us.
Yeah, I get it.
Tom, tell us a bit about the parrot in the tree. It's in a grapefruit tree, and there's still grapefruits in the tree. Is that true?
Yeah, we've got. I mean, it wasn't as though wind hadn't passed through there. There was still certain trees were bent over. We've got. I mean, for example, think about the size of a coconut tree and the thickness of the stem of a coconut tree. It's like a foot and a half thick. And we've got coconut trees that have been completely bent over, you know. So it's not that nothing happened there, but you can just see that the wildlife that's there, the plants and what have you, have received those high winds, but it hasn't rooted them out. It hasn't. Everything is still had the energy just to keep going afterwards. So the image of the parrot there, like, it's weird. We're high up in the rainforest, and normally it's deafening up there. You're listening to every type of wildlife, you know. And right now, it's just the silence is deafening. There's nothing. So we've been here. These parrots are usually quite difficult to see. They don't come and hang out very often. They're quite shy birds. But since the hurricane, they're very low in the garden. And this guy just came and hopped around, and my mother's told me she's seen him. He's coming in the garden, and he's coming for the fruits and things that are, they're still on the trees. We've got grapefruits with the fruits in the trees. We've got mandarin and different citrus, and these birds love to come and eat the seeds. So yeah, they're there because I guess they're feeling the vibes in the place, you know. And comparatively, when you see the decimation of the rest of the island, I could show you some videos and it would shock you to see what's happened. I guess maybe some people have seen, but it's just like it was the richest place on earth just turned, it's like desert. It's just surreal. So yeah, I get it completely what's happened there. Right? It's very, very, very clear to see.
Tom, a question. Have you been able to pick up any information of the behavior of the animals shortly before the storm?
Not really, but I mean, I've experienced a hurricane there. I spent the shack that was in the video that I made, where I went collecting bits and pieces. I spent a very interesting evening in that shack a few years ago. I don't know. Hurricane Dean brushed past us. It wasn't a direct hit, but it brushed past us. And I observed what the animals did then. And they scarper for ground cover. Everything that's in the sky goes to ground, and everything that's on the ground runs in a hole. Everything just disappears.
You see clearly a movement of warning or indication from the animals?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, usually if you're lucky enough to know that it's coming, and most people are, but in the case of this hurricane, it was quite a low category, and then it just suddenly jumped, and people weren't ready for that jump. It jumped from a 2 or a 3, I think, up to a 5, which was actually a 7. So people weren't bracing themselves for like such a strong hurricane. So, but normally you're battened down by that time. You know roughly when the hurricane's going to come in, and you're out of the way. So you haven't really got your eyes on nature.
And how long before the storm hits do the animals start showing the behavior?
Well, they're way more tuned in than we are, aren't they? So they know. You'll see it goes eerily quiet. They know. They're out of the way. They're way more tuned into those energies than most of us are. So that's what I personally, that's what I would do. If I didn't have a radio and I see the animals scattering like that and getting out of the way, I would know what's coming. And I would say to the people who maybe live in areas like that are tornadoes where you don't get the warning, there's your warning system. There's your early warning system. You know?
That's the reason why I'm asking you, because it's a well-known knowledge, but maybe not for everyone, that animals are the first indicator something heavy is coming. And I wanted to see if you could estimate the time before they start moving, before the storm hits.
Yeah, I think normally you're just busying about doing what you need to do to get prepared for the storm. So generally your eyes aren't on everything else. You'll be running around, gathering up tools, gathering up water, and everyone has their heads down on their own little mission at that point, if they know it's coming. If you don't know it's coming, you'll notice that the birds and the animals have gone. And that's a very subtle energy. You've got to be someone who watches nature in the first place to realize that, you know. But it's a thing that people should realize and should
Can you
start.
ask around, Tom? Can you ask around?
I will.
Tom? Because it might be very valuable for people to know when it becomes critical.
Yep, for sure. And I have a lot of friends who battled out the hurricane in shacks and stuff this time, and they fought with it as long as they could. So they'll be able to give me the report. And these are nature guys too, so they already realize that you watch the animals in the book. So I'll ask them. I'm going to go back and do a follow-up workshop that we did at those guys' house. I'm going to go up again and show them, now that we've created the plasma with the plates, you know, what we can do. You have to clean it up and so on. So I'm going to go and do a follow-up. Plus, there's a long list now of people who want the next workshop. What's happening is as the word spreads that we're giving out this information, it's getting easier to be able to go and do a little workshop here and there. I'm very much going on. I'm letting the universe guide me. Did you read the more or less the little report I put in on the Zoom that we're all in there?
No, we didn't read the full report. We thought we'd get it directly from you.
Right.
Perhaps there's some of that you'd like to talk about more.
Well, I was just trying to, because I know we're trying to put a structure together here where there's a lot of folks who are eager and willing to get off and help and do what we can to help, you know, in these scenarios. And the point I was trying to get across, I think, was there's the perception from the outside of what you can go in and do and help, and then there's the reality, and those two are quite removed from each other. Firstly, you've got to be in the country to be able to go in after a disaster and give out pain relief systems and stuff. You've got to be there, and if you're not there, you've missed the boat. I mean, going in with pain relief systems and stuff, it is still relevant now. It's relevant always. There are people with aches and pains and whatever, wherever you go. But the idea of, Tom, we want to send in the relief and we want to send in the support. And well, that's beautifully received. It's lovely that people want to do that. But in reality, getting it in, the port is still in chaos. So shipping stuff in is it's still tricky. It's getting easier, but it's still tricky. So basically, you've got to have folks on the ground in each country. I wasn't able to listen to the start of the teaching today, but that little piece that I read as I came online that you had up there looked like that's sort of what you're saying is we've got people in every country now, more or less, who can activate if something happens. Someone told me there was an earthquake in Iran yesterday or today. You know, have we got knowledge seekers in Iran that are in there on the ground now doing it? Because that's the point where you need to go in if you want to give instant relief. But there is a long term and there's a short term. You know, that short term is if you're there when it happens, go and do what you know how to do. But if you go in after the event, you've got a different job on your hands. You've got to go in and firstly, you can't just wander in and start arranging meetings. You can't go to government and start saying, I'm here and we're doing this and this. I've tried. I did it when I arrived. I had a great connection with the British consul, who's somebody I know already. And they said, great, let's get you lined up with the farmers. And I've been trying for a week now to get a workshop lined up with those guys. And communication systems are still down and phones aren't working and messages are not getting where they're supposed to be. And I'm still sitting there waiting and I'm getting frustrated because I'm feeling like I'm wasting time. I mean, I'm not. I'm doing stuff while I'm here. But so that's why I just stood up and said, you know, I'm going to go just walk down to the village and see who's there and let's get a workshop going. And so I've been kind of guided by my own intuition rather than any protocol I think I should be following. And I think that's kind of the message I'm trying to say is if people want to go in and help out, you've got to go in and first you need to insert yourself into the community so that they know you're all right. I'm lucky here because these guys know me. They know me from the works I was doing there before. I haven't got any... I haven't got to make that soul connection with these people like someone else might as a foreigner because I'm already connected to them. But people should understand that, you know, if you're going to go into these scenarios, it's chaos. It's total chaos and everyone's got what they're doing and they've got their own agenda, and trying to organize anything and trying to make things have any kind of structure is next to impossible. So you will end up just bumping into someone in the street who's receptive to you. And you'll end up going and saying, all right, I'll show you what I know. And you've got, as I said in that letter, I think as I have observed things from this side, I see it's better to go and scatter a few seeds in the right places than randomly go around scattering your seeds everywhere and hoping they're going to grow. It makes sense to go into those communities and make friends, let those people see you're a good person, and then conversation will open and you'll end up getting invited in to come and chat and share what you know and do a workshop. And I can see now that every day I'm getting, sorry if people are getting in touch with me on Facebook, but it's like, it's nuts. Every time I open it, I've just got hundreds of messages and people wanting me to meet up. And as you know, I'm also sort of touching on the Super Adobe building while I'm here too. And there's people, it's just a fertile ground right here, right now, for all that kind of stuff. Plasma tech, for the different ways of building that are sustainable. So I think my message generally was, you've got to go in and be guided accordingly. Let the universe guide you and you'll make your connections. But if you go in and try and force it, you might find you're just up against a brick wall. So there are levels to bringing in plasma relief. You know, you need to do it smart. You need to, and this place is very rough at the moment. It's not a place, you can't walk around at night because you get arrested, but it's tense, man. I'm up there in these guys' yard, and if a car stops, they're like gophers. They just jump up and they're on red alert. Who is this? What do they want? Everyone's on high alert because people are looting. People are getting, it was chaos. For a week here, it was just absolute chaos. People were looting everything, from the brewery to the hospital to everything got looted, and you literally had to stay in your home and guard it, because if you went out, you would come back and find everything was gone. And these are not nice. I'm all right here because I'm at home here, but it's very third world vibes, and if you're not switched on, you can be a target. I mean, we spoke about this before a little bit, but so you've got to move carefully. But for me, it's fascinating scenario to be in and to try and keep your spirits up. It's grim, you know. I'm trying to stay motivated. This is why I'm happy to be able to get on today, because I wanted to share some of this with you, and I haven't been able to communicate, and it's been frustrating. Everything grinds to a halt. Every normality grinds to a halt. So I can only imagine, and I'm in a rootsy country here. People are used to living close to the earth and not in a high-tech environment and what have you. I could only imagine if this happens in a city, the kind of chaos you're going to get if this level of disaster hits any built-up area. Oh my goodness, it would just not be a nice place to be. Things go wild. So yeah, it's interesting, and I'm here trying to help out, and we're inching our way forwards. But like I said, the workshop we did there was just beautiful. It was so well received. It gave me, it energized my batteries. It really brought me back up to speed, you know. So there you go. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything, but I'm around. I'm online, and am I still online? Am I on my own?
Yes.
Wonderful.
No. You've been all time with us with great pleasure, and we really do appreciate your presence. And if you could take more pictures of the garden to have a really good overview how beautiful that has been preserved.
For sure.
As I call it, the oasis system.
Yeah, I've got where we've planted, where we've made what they call beds, you know, where you're planting your vegetables and so on. My mother said, go and check out that bed up there. One of the beds there has got, it's beautiful, thriving. There are 2 aubergine plants that are flowering and ready to give aubergines. There's a mulberry bush that's fruiting. There are mustard greens. There is basilic. There is a moringa tree, and this bed is just thriving. And I said to my mum, "What's the story?" She said, "Go and look properly, and there's two little pots of gans buried in the earth there." So you can see, you know, it's real.
So normally this would not be there if the ganses wouldn't be in place.
I very much doubt it. I have looked around trying to make some comparisons, and I can see there are little areas here and there that you can say, well, all right, we went for a drive the other day, and my mum was like, look, they've got flowers. And, you know, there are areas that have been spared. So it's not black and white, but I can say, well, I understand what that can be also, you know, that can be, as Rick said the other week, we're all kilos and kilos of GANs. We're made of the stuff. So someone who's got their vibe right, the same thing can happen. You create your oasis system. You are it. And so I don't want to paint the picture that we were absolutely untouched, because, you know, everything is everything. And yeah, there was there's still things to do here in the garden and whatever, but comparatively, you cannot help if you make the comparison between our place and just down the road. Well, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll walk around with the camera and then take you down the road 50 meters and walk around with my camera, and you'll see the differences.
That would be very nice, Tom, because, you know, I explained, or I added some information to the visual aspect of what you see and what you have found, is that because of what you created and with your understanding as a knowledge seeker from through your being the period you've been a student and a teacher and a knowledge seeker, that is that you have stayed in the connection with your mom, and your mom has stayed in connection through her field strength with you on the other side of the world, more or less.
Yeah.
That this has created an extra shielding effect, that you know what was there, and she has really used whatever you passed on to her, and she has embedded it in her environment, which now we see the fruits of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's my reason why I'm asking you to see the borderlines of the property and how far she has created the dome of protection.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very conscious of it, and she's got a nice, very basic understanding of the plasma, but she's got a very good understanding. More on the less technical aspect of it all, but much more, you know, people who it's like what I was saying with these guys that I just done the workshop with. These are guys who live very close to the earth, and they're already doing it, you know, they're already very much working with the plasma, and they just haven't had it put in the same word packages as the rest of us here, you know, but they're doing it already. That's why
you have made the connection for them to come to the full, complete understanding of it.
Yeah, there's like it's like having missing pieces of the puzzle, and that's, you know, we were laughing about it, saying that they were saying, boy, we don't get taught this in school, what's going on? And because when you do, you get the full picture, you get little half truths and grains of truth here and there, but you don't, there's a bunch of it that's missing, you know. And these guys just really enjoyed me filling in some of the blanks for them, and it all lined up with what they know through their teachings that they've gathered through whatever book, you know, whatever their books that they read. I know Rastafarians read one type, and, you know, they see knowledge as an ancient thing and they understand that it's been suppressed. And it's something I quite fancied having a chat with Mr. Keshe about one day, you know. Let's open that door about is this knowledge we're looking at now new, or is it ancient, and who's applied it in the past? And people who were in possession of this knowledge in the past, why isn't it with us now? Why is it being suppressed all this time, you know? And it would be a nice chat to have some point in time when it's possible, because a lot of people are wondering about that. I know these guys that I did the workshop with, that's the question they're left. Like, you know, is this the keys that King Solomon had? Is this the magic? Is this the magic juice that they were drinking in Egypt? And, you know,
I can answer you this, because Mr. Keshe brought it in his teaching and his presentation quite a while ago, and he said, it's the third time we are here.
Yeah.
So the knowledge has been received, but most probably, as he explained, it has been abused. It was only for a few, and it has been kept hidden. This time, it will not happen. It will all be opened up. And as you said, you're bringing the missing links. As for so many knowledge seekers, the missing link now is flowing together, and it makes the totality of understanding.
Yeah, exactly. And what I plan to do now with the guys who I have connected with here and very, very deeply got what we were talking about. Now, the next workshop I do, I'm taking them with me, and I'm just going to chop them in, and I'm going to ask them to share what they've understood from what I've taught, and I'm just going to be there to back them up. You know, and they'll be able to transfer that knowledge and that information in their own language, because you know, I've not gone in and done a workshop that will have the same structure as the way that you guys are structuring and certifying teachers and stuff. It's very different, and I'm doing it in a language that they're going to understand, because for me it's important to touch the soul. I can go in and share this information and do it in a technical way, and it just won't mean anything. If I go in and use the correct language and the language that's understood, then you make the soul connection, right? And when you make the soul connection, boom, you're off. Yeah, right. Thanks, Rick. It's quite lengthy. This, I didn't mean to write a book in my in my notes, but I wrote it down because I thought people might find it interesting. But yeah,
one paragraph that stood out for me here. You mentioned what you were just saying in relation to that. The Dominicans are a people who are deeply rooted in nature and have been working with plasma and nanotechnology for hundreds of years. The elements are their tools. They daily create and use nanomaterials in the form of ashes for the benefit of their crops. They work with herbs in place of pharmaceuticals. Naturality is an everyday part of life here, so adding to what they already know is a great pleasure for me. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, thanks. It's just adding to the knowledge already. It's like, as we know, as people who've been students of the Keshe Foundation and are studying plasma, then we know we're just adding to what's there already, and what we know, it connects to everything we know already, and we're doing it already, but it's like the missing pieces, and it becomes very easy. I found it so easy to teach with these guys because they were men and women of the earth, you know, and they get it. There was no conflict. There was no this is contrary to what science has taught us, you know. These guys didn't go to school, so there was no conflict to have. All there is this. They were just telling me this just connects to what they know from the ancient materials that they read. Because these guys don't sit down and read science books; they read the ancient text.
You would have had a lot more trouble with a group of PhD scientists, for example, to try to convince them that this was the correct.
I've done it.
Even if they were in a disaster area, they would probably still retain that resistance to learning something so basic.
I've done it, and I guess a lot of people have here, and I know it's something that many people talk about. You know, they've come across that level of resistance, and then it's very difficult to move past it. So I've taught people who are very highly qualified and have got all kinds of numbers and letters behind their name, and it takes, I won't say you don't get through, but they've got to be in some way open to receiving that different information for it to make sense to them, because people tend to very much be in the box they're in, you know, and breaking out of that box there's some very thick-walled boxes out there. Is that my microphone making all that noise? Was it someone else?
No, I'm sorry, it was mine, sorry.
No.
I didn't realize it was still open. But thank you so much for sharing. And we hope we can see you next week with some more information and your progress. And I really would love to see, maybe in a short video, the edges of the garden, how far your mom has been able to maintain the oasis system around her
Yeah.
house and around the garden. And maybe also
Yeah, I'll do it.
if she has noticed how many animals stayed in her property.
Yeah, for sure. Well, interestingly, she had to leave her. She has there's a real zoo there already. She has two dogs and 4 cats there, I think, and she had to leave them all there. And when she went for shelter, thinking she might be vulnerable where she was, so she didn't stay there through the hurricanes, but she came back and all her animals were fine. We were expecting them all to have been blown away, but no, they were all fine. So I'll get a little report from her what she's noticed then.
So the animals were more in trust with the field strength she created.
Yeah, well, they are, aren't they? The animals are much more into.
That's beautiful.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Great, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah, might have a question. Ursula had her hand up, and we also have Ted Theodore was brought in as well. So, Ursula, did you have a question? You had your hand up earlier. Might have been from previous.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ursula.
I put my hand up for before, but I want to tell you about the question with them.
Can you get closer to the microphone, Ursula? We can't hear.
Yes. Can you hear me now better?
Yes, thank you.
I was in contact with Jasmine and Shayla also, as you asked, Carolina, for reaching Tom in Dominica. They have got many problems with connections, and Shayla was traveling, I don't know where, I don't know exactly, I think to Mexico, and she will be there, and they were talking together and give you an answer about that. They are pleased to do it, but they must organize with their children and when the husband, and okay, they will write to you soon, yes, to give you the answer. I'm in contact with them always, as with Tom, as with so much people in Spanish language. It's a pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Ursula. And how about Ted? Did you have a comment there or question there, Ted?
Hi, Rick. Can you hear me well today?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I was calling in to just give some support to the movement for peace. I really appreciate the way everybody works so hard for our ultimate mission to come together as one in peace. I've been working with positioning myself with a group of very strong women that are doing a lot of beautiful things in the Puerto Rico area. I've been sent one of them down some CO2 GANs, and she took a bump in the car and hit her head off the ceiling on a bump. And I says to her, if you don't mind, put a little bit of that CO2 water on a paper towel and put it on your neck. Just let it sit there until it dries up on your neck and enjoy it. And I got back with her the next day. I says, that helped you? She said, that was amazing. She said, we really like this water. So I sent them down a spray bottle and some other things so they can start making more of it with their abilities and spraying it around. I think it's a really powerful batch. I put a lot of love into it when I made it. And I was really proud to send it down to Puerto Rico. I want to say to Tom that he's really an inspiration to me, that the fact that he really gets out there and is doing this has helped me to push myself. I know that Mr. Keshe's opinion on how the United States was handling the Puerto Rico affairs has helped to propel me and Carolina's ability to persist to be the news we want to see. And I'm hoping real soon that my team of very strong women and men on the ground are potentially getting some news coverage on a international level, some kind of national TV news. People are reaching out because we've got a lot of supplies going down there. I've reached out in my dreams and in my mind to find supplies and find a way to get it there, because that's what, we were speaking on about 3 or 4 weeks ago, is that the supplies just aren't getting there. So I found a way to get them there. We've collectively found a way to get them there, and we're expecting a first load of about 300,000 pounds of supplies to get there within a week from today or less. And so we're very optimistic about that, and I wanted to bring that to you all's attention. I know that's very much in the physicality, but I think that this is what makes these folks really feel like there's people out there on their side. When they see these things coming to them, they're like, wow, people do care. We're not alone. I think it's an important message to all of us that on Earth, we're never alone. And no matter where we are, and I think even as last man standing, we're still not alone in a way. And so I try to visualize that, and in hopes for what goes down here in the North American continent. I'm reaching out to anybody that wants to connect up on ham radio or shortwave radio so that we can have our communications lines in preparation for anything that goes on with the average communications. And if anybody supports that, I'd be definitely willing to work with that. I'm very much amateur in that area, but I'd like to get into that because I've had the feeling that that would be necessary so I could be in touch with you all. If anybody wants to stay in touch via that way, it's a pretty solid way. I think we can even reach international out with shortwave and ham radio. So that's kind of just wanted to catch you up on what I'm trying to do for the relief work and try to just propel some energy forward. There's one of the beautiful, very, very strong, souled individuals that's working with the group that we're trying to form down here, our collective, is a lady that has the ability to manifest. And I've been trying to teach the plasma tech to these folks, from an emotional side and a physical side. And because of their open-mindedness about helping others, they're very open-minded about this technology. And when I got to talking to the lady, and I invited her onto the show today, she said she'd be listening on, which I'm very excited about. And I reached out to Carolina too and sent you a message on the Facebook Messenger because I believe this woman's very special. And I think that there are a lot of people out there that know how to manifest their intentions and their wills from a higher place, from their higher self, from an order of their soul. And, just speaking with her and her giving me the interpretation of how she views it, how she works with her higher self and her soul. And she told me that, things happened when she was younger and she was forced to her mind would either become broken or she would work from that potential area and keep her mind together. And that's what she chose to do. And it made her a very strong person. And I feel like with the intentions and the people that really believe in manifestation, gathering these groups of people together, like all of us and the people that know it's possible. And when we can really start to harmonize together, I think we'll really see something beautiful. The lady speaks to the fact that she feels the vibration that radiates around her body, kind of like a humming or a boom, 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 the energy, and I'm in a big idea that when a few of us get together and we can collectively create this kind of field that, some real intention can hit the earth and really help with what we're doing. And so without being too long-winded, that's where I'm at, and just want to catch you all up. And thanks for all the support, and really thanks for everybody being an inspiration to me to be a better person, to elevate myself. I'm very happy to do so. And with your all support, it really helps me, and I thank you for that.
Hey Ted, that's Tom. Sorry, Caroline. I just wanted to add something to that. That if you guys are thinking about working in the environment of the disaster or wherever the help is needed, just one thing that I've noticed is that, let's say two things. Plasma technology can be very technical, and it can be very simple. And the amount of light that you actually shine by showing people the simplicity of this work. When you're in an area where there is a heavy depression because of what's just happened, if you take them on a little walk and you gather the 2, 3, 4 little things that you're going to need to create something which can then be a vehicle to manifest what you want to manifest, as we all know as we're working with plasma, right? But showing people that simplicity is a massive ray of light for those people in a moment where energy levels are very low. And in my experience, what we just did with these guys, the farmers, we finished the teaching and the vibe was so high that it was unreal. And the amount of work that we physically went out and did after that workshop was unreal. We moved 2 or 3 tons of earth in about 20 minutes. because these guys were just high on the info that we just shared with them and all the possibilities and applications that they realized that they could do. You've just shone a massive light on them. Oh man, my plants are going to grow bigger. I can help Auntie with her arthritis. I can, and the list goes on. And boom, it's like a shot of light for these people. So, the point I'm making,
created a lifeline of hope.
Yeah, and it's not a little one. Like it's a whack-ack of hope, bam, it's really big. And when you're in those depressed situations, and believe me, it's really heavy. I try to express it in this little letter I wrote here that, everyone's displaced all over the place. So every household's got another 2 or 3 families living in it. They're normal. That in itself is the second pressure. So these people are just feeling they're on top of each other. You're living with people you don't want to live with. It's just a pressure, and it's heavy, and that drags down the energy levels. So the moment you go and shine that little light by showing them, look, I can even go and find what I need now in the backyard, that pile of junk there. We're going to turn that into something. And that's an energy hit. So anyone that's thinking about going out and doing that, try and focus in on that simplicity, because that resonates with the people.
Tom, have you managed to reach the elderly people?
Yes and no. I haven't gone out and started connecting, chatting and whatever, because there's still it's not the easiest environment to just go in and say, hi, my name's Tom and here I am, but I will. And
no, maybe through the youngsters that are involved in your teamwork, maybe through their parents.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, we have done, and I've asked them all to go out now and try and send that information out there anywhere that it would be received, now, and so they're running with it. But in truth, the elderly people here are the ones who are feeling it the most, because there's a massive emotional vortex happened there where their support mechanism has gone. They're sitting on their own. There's very little communications with people. Everything, it gets rough for those who are not totally able-bodied, for those who are, they're just sitting there watching the day pass by, and these are the guys who need the support.
But that's exactly what I was trying to inform you or explain to you before you left to Dominica, to make sure do you take the elderly by the hand by giving them small tasks that they can be important to bring supplies or to pass messages on or to create something for you. And I know it's not easy where you are, but maybe through the first knowledge seekers that you have attracted to your team, to involve their parents, because you have to remember that the youngsters are already connected with the elderly. So on soul level, you will reach those elderly people much easier, because their grandchildren or their children are already at your disposition.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can feel it. You feel it here, that there's a little void where the connection's been severed. And it's important. Well, a lot of people are dying off. There's the people who died in the disaster that were dead and missing, and then you've got many elderly people now that are just deciding, I don't want to live through this, and they're dying, and they're not classed as deaths related to the disaster, but it very much is. They just, they're feeling alone, they're feeling afraid, they're wondering if it's going to happen again next week, and they need that support. So you can feel it. It's a very sad situation.
So if you can, in your next teaching or gathering with your youngsters, can you debrief them about the importance of involving the elderly souls?
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the knowledge you're sharing with us, so we're able to share it with everyone else. I mean, it's a process, right? But thanks to you.
The conversation provoked from Jill Jacobs in the chat that she says, I realize I've just joined, so pardon me for speaking up. My life work is with the elderly and disabled. I'm not sure if Jill wants to say something about that, but it's interesting how it's in conversation. It inspires others to bring up their life work, and that this is something that they do. Go ahead.
Rick, Jill is the lady that I invited to the workshop today. She's the one that's been helping in Puerto Rico to facilitate, our dream together, our wish.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying.
My pleasure.
She's more than welcome to come to appear in the private teachings that we can open up. My private teaching is on Wednesday afternoon. You and her are more than welcome to come on board to open the doors where we can see what we can create, or to understand one another, see on what level we can exchange on information, to then bring it maybe for the next Tuesday platform to share to a wider public. If it's suitable for the public, you're more than welcome. So thank you very much for being present.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Her microphone, or I've allowed her to talk. Jill, do you want to say something now?
Sure. I had no expectation of what this meeting would be about. Just briefly, Ted explained to me, and so I appreciate his bringing me here to talk, or to just listen really and learn. I didn't plan on saying anything, but it certainly came to mind repeatedly that elderly and disabled people, but especially elderly in this instance, that are these are the people that I've worked with all of my life, elderly and disabled people. It's been just put in my life since childhood. This is just my role on this earth, and to bring about understanding of these communities, and to understand that I was reading when I first got here that some of the requirements for the key people on this council are that they have lived on 2 continents and they speak more than 1 language. And I thought to myself, well, the language I speak is disability. That's it. It's its own language. And so I just want people to understand that there's an understanding amongst certain people that I think can be understood and can just bring us to a different place as humanity. That rather than to see elderly and disabled people, or understand them as being needy, is to recognize their place in our society, and that I think that increases who we are as individuals and as a whole on the earth. And it allows us
I totally agree with you on this one, because I emphasize that it's not because you have reached, as we say, or the name or the framework which they have created, you're obsolete when you become an elderly, then my God, where am I supposed to go? I'm nearly reaching 60s. A few years ago, I was supposed to go on pension, and my life path just started. I am doing more work than when I was 25, 30. Mm-hmm.
And Carolina.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Tom again. What I'd like to add to that was that the elderly folks here and anywhere in the world are the ones who are holding lots of very interesting information. They're knowledge keepers. They're holding it, like here in Dominica, they're the ones who have the real herbal knowledge. They're the ones who, since 70 years, 80 years ago, there wasn't pharmaceuticals there for them, so they had to understand how to get what they needed from the herbs and from nature. And these are the knowledge keepers, as far as I'm concerned. So bringing them in on that level and tapping into what they know and how they've applied that level of naturality, or whatever it is. Each elderly generation in each different country will have a certain amount of wisdom, and that is, to me, that's priceless knowledge. And if you can, they will always enjoy sharing that knowledge. Always. I think it would be it would be an exception to meet an elderly person that wouldn't be happy to dig out that knowledge that they're holding, you know. And as people who are working with plasma, that's fascinating for us. That knowledge can very much be applied now in a new way, you know. So to me, that's how I will try here to connect with some of the elderly, be on that level.
You couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better what my wish was, what you just expressed, because they are so valuable. They are so valuable. And I would love to hear more about this lady that says that this is her life path on this planet.
I'm not sure exactly how to explain.
We lost you, darling. Can you repeat again?
There you go. I don't know how to explain it really. It's what's been given to me in my life. As a child, my father was in a car accident and became disabled, and it had a big impact on me. And every major passage in my life someone has been presented to me that has a disability. In college, I met a girl who was living in the dormitory and had no help. She had quadriplegia, and so I became her assistant for 3 years. And then I got married and had children. I had triplets, and one of them passed away, and 2 of them were severely disabled. It's just been presented to me my whole life, and I feel like I've been placed in positions to gain understanding and to be able to make changes in human understanding. I've just come to realize that this is what I'm supposed to do while I'm here, and it feels very natural to me.
Thank you very much for sharing, and we'll see where we can open up more gates of experience and how to find our way and our path in why we are in these kind of positions. There is a reason. You got a gift. You have a knowledge about something which will open doors to other topics and maybe other views that people can look at, that they realize, wow, we have elderly people around us, or we are in a society, and there are quite a number of knowledge seekers which are surrounded or in an environment where they share the same environment with elderly people. So I think the topic has come on the surface more than once, and I think it's time to have a look at it, that maybe we as a group, as a family, can start taking care by supporting and creating elevation for those souls which are absolutely not obsolete. Thank you very much for bringing it forward.
Thank you for listening.
You're more than welcome. And we always are eager to learn, because each one of us carries a gift. And it would be a shame to miss the gift, which is wrapped sometimes in very strange packages. But I have learned not to miss the gifts which are crossing my paths. There is a reason for it. It needs attention, because you give me a gift. Maybe I am a gift for you. And we'll see where our path will start opening up towards the councils, towards the knowledge seekers, towards the public. Feel free to come in and share, because you all carry your own individual gifts, which are so beautiful. Share them with us. Don't be shy. Thank you.
I'd like to share some more. It's Ted in West Virginia again.
Hi, Ted. Welcome.
Thank you. I've been really feeling, you know, doing the relief work a lot. It's really helping to elevate me as a person. And I've been wanting to call the operation Sacred Fire because of the sacred fire that like comes from, like, I think it's like the lower energy that like feeds the universe. I believe its color as we know it would be red, and that it's like a low frequency that like through the heartbeat like feeds us all, and it makes possible like the higher vibrations are stepping up into the higher frequencies because it's the giver that gives to feed into that. And for me, it's like where I'm starting at, and like my root chakra and the base, like all of like kind of the physicality that I've been so attached to for so long. And then understanding, like even when I'm working with my maggrav, or when I'm working with humans, or when I'm working with anything, of understanding, like I really believe there's a lot of potential in that like lower frequency and that lower hertz and that and the sacred fire and the lower chakras once we learn how to use that correctly. And for some reason I felt like I should bring that up because for me that's where my intention is right now. It's like this sacred fire that's like feeding, and I look to expand like the field of the red energy and to give it to others so that they can have that base, that foundation to fuel like the other colors and the growth of the higher frequencies from that. If that makes any sense to you all, that's what's in my mind.
Sure, because it's funny you're talking about this. I have just opened up a book which has been buried in my library for about 10 years minimum. And it has an eagle, and I don't know, it's like a cup on it. And it says, the light shall set you free. And it is passing over the topics, how to open your chakras, how to rebalance your energy fields, your colors, your vibration. It's a learning process to start again, refreshing my mind, because now, as Tom just also mentioned, it is amazing what you didn't understand 10 years ago, and now you can link up so fast what needs to be done and guide people through the process to accelerate their evolvement to find the path, how they can reach the path. And I'm very appreciated. I appreciate it very much that you bring up the first chakra, which is our connection to Mother Earth. And slowly we can start opening those doors of knowledge, because everything is field strength. And we can guide one another to find the path much easier by sharing our own experiences and not to keep silent, because it's no longer taboo. And all these, what you're bringing up and other people are bringing up, these are written in ancient books. This has been kept and guarded, this knowledge, and it's surfacing very slowly to educate for the people which start looking for the right path. People will find their path, and through the stimulation of what is given and shared already as knowledge seekers, it will become a very great, beautiful journey to see so many people, souls, actually do soul searching and start wishing to open the doors, and it will open and reconnect. We will go through the path because the knowledge is there. And if we create the desire, as we are creators, to open those doors, to have access to this knowledge, it will reveal itself to the ones which are the first ones to open the keys. Apparently, chakras have not been spoken about for quite a few months. And I'm very glad that you brought this subject back on the table, because it's a support system and a very easy way to understand. Because in that matter field, in that matter state, we can, and people can see visually, which are working or still are connected in the matter state to visualize their energy fields, because the science has developed the machines to be able to see them, to measure them, to see the colors, the vibration, and to see and understand the knowledge behind it. Because it is a guiding path to develop yourself, to open up, to embrace so much more, to share so much more. Anyone else?
Thank you, Carolina. This right now, this moment, I believe, is my wish. So thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of your wish too. I appreciate that.
It's a great knowledge, and it makes, because it's connected with the matter state, people can see and visualize. For if it's not clear, there are sufficient enough experts in those levels that can open up those doors, that they are no longer mystic or something that should not be touched. Because it comes down to the emotional field, it comes down to correct where you didn't understand. It can help and support the knowledge to how to change, and through the knowledge in connection with the Keshe Foundation, we can support people to come faster to understanding on these levels, because there is a visual point of reference. Thank you so much for sharing.
Carolina, it's Tom here. I'm just searching for an image that I have. A lot of you have seen it already. If I find it, can I do a screen share, and I'll show you the Kirlian photography, which is the way that science has discovered how you can capture the photograph of the energy fields surrounding anything. If I can
As long as it's
find
not a copyright picture from the internet that's already somebody's picture.
It was from a knowledge seeker who had posted it publicly, a chap who was photographed without any contact with plasma, and it showed his auric field or his energy fields as being all different colors. And then in the next moment, he photographed himself while holding a plasma device, a plasma patch, I think it was. So I don't see that there would be any issue with copyright, but
should be fine. Thank you.
Okay, let me just try and open this document. I've got it in front of me. Just give me 1 second. Let me just screen share. Share screen. Are you able to see that?
Yes, thank you.
So that's more or less what we're talking about here. The image on the left is the chap's auric field normally every day, and you can see it's red to orange to green to yellow, and then on the right there, where he's surrounded with a purple glow, that is it's one color, and that's where he had I believe it was a plasma patch in his hand. So you can see how that's affected his auric field just by being in the vicinity of the plasma. It's interesting.
If you understand, Tom, what you just are showing, you know that violet is one of the highest vibration colors.
Yep. And if we make a plasma of gold, I believe it comes through at that same color, right? It's the high order, right?
Ultraviolet is the highest.
I was in a cafe yesterday and sitting with this older man, and this woman came in and had a dress on that was that exact same color. And my friend just had to blurt out, "Oh, you're wearing a royal color today." And that's considered to be royalty, but in the sense of the soul, that color.
Can you explain that again, Rick, please?
Well, I was sitting in a cafe yesterday and with a friend, and he saw this woman come into the cafe with the same color clothing as the aura that we saw on the right. And he couldn't help but say, "Oh, I see you're wearing a royal color today. You're wearing royalty." And she kind of blushed a little bit and smiled and agreed. But seems to be the color. Now it's interesting that Ted also mentioned the color red as the color from that lower chakra and so on as a place of power. So that's
Violet is the highest of the 7, but there are in fact 9. But these are the 7 primary chakras. So when you achieve this kind of violet, which is appearing on the picture because they haven't pictured any higher, you should be able to see the higher colors appearing, because the picture is very short on just around the head, but the people have to realize there are 9. And there are more, actually there are 12, but the most primarily which are worked with are the first 7, which is the root is red. When your belly button is orange, your solar plexus is yellow, your heart is green, your throat is blue, your third eye is indigo, and the top of your head is violet.
Well, I've been thinking about how that it's represented in the visual spectrum, and how like colors or the frequencies that go lower than red, like I'm trying to want to really touch the creative universe, and I feel like once I can maggrav really takes on the life of its own. And I envision it as like when we're talking about it, we speak of red because up into our vision understand. But further than that, like lower than that, I see it more as being not only light visual as a whole of all this, but maybe even at the same time it being at the same time in that lower spectrum that like feeds this. And for some reason that's what I'm drawn to try to understand.
If you are very curious to know more about, there are a lot of books available which I will share with you in private, because I don't know if we can bring them into public platform. I start to be very careful what I try to share on knowledge. So I just try to give you the titles, and then for you to type the titles in and do your search. You will bump into them if they're meant for you to be, but in private you can ask me more questions. Like I'm eager to share, because it really opens a lot of path in connection with what Mr. Keshe has been teaching in the last 3-4 weeks. The connections are coming so fast. And I noticed that so many knowledge seekers have started searching on soul level. It is absolutely amazingly beautiful. And Tom, really, you are a treasure in our family. And it is beautiful for what you share in your work, and all the other knowledge seekers and the council members. They're all working around the clock to be there, to create the path, to open the doors of understanding, making the connection points, making sure the wishes are in place, that we do not leave a single soul out, which we cannot embrace with our love and our care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else wants to share some knowledge, please?
I've got so many things I could share, but I don't want to take up all the airtime.
We could never imagine we could have you so clear. So, you know what is beautiful with this picture, which is just was on the screen? That is that you are surrounded with people with a smile on their face. They have a happy, really content expression on their face. They're all smiling. Each one of what you shared when you're working with the plasma around you, look at their faces. They're bright, they're shining, they're happy. So you have reached them. You have reached so many souls.
Yeah, it was very incredibly high vibe on the time we were teaching. It was really nice. And when you're in a incredibly low vibrational scenario, as you can see from the pictures from the yard and whatever that's out the back there, these guys were riding high on the information we were sharing. It created a beautiful environment. It was really nice.
You created the path of the connection, the path of hope. You're recreating them to reshape their world around them. And if you connect them with what has happened with your garden up in the mountains, then they know they will be so strong for the next, whatever is coming. They will be ready because they are already started.
And I shared with them a few images also that were really gave a clear indication of what we're able to do with plasma, and that was really. You want me to share an image with you that I showed to them that really hit home for them? Let me just hold on 1 second, and I'll screen share. Let me just find the image first.
Sure, thank you, Tom.
This one. There will be some knowledge seekers who will enjoy seeing this one if they haven't already. Let me just. Okay. Screen share. This is our little doggy. I think Caroline has seen this one before. Are you able to see that?
Yes, I know. I remember all of them.
So I will close up on Tito so you can see Tito. There's Tito. That was the day that we found him. And bless him, he was very, he wasn't in a good way. I don't know how much longer he was for this world. So again, with the little advice from you as to what we could do and help him and whatever, we gave him the love, and over the space of 2 months, I think the last picture is about a month and a half, and there he is. So when I showed those guys that we were doing the teaching with these images, they were just like, wow, man. You know, it's the comparison. When you watch that animal, and we haven't taken him to a vet, we hadn't given him anything other than he was eating dry food, normal dry dog food. We didn't do anything to him other than bathe him and give him plasma water to drink. We bathed him with a mixture of CO2 and zinc and copper. And we just bathed him and we gave him the CO2 and the zinc to drink, not the copper. And that was after a month and a half, he looked like that. And you can't really, I've got veterinarians contacting me now who've seen this image, who want to know what we're doing, you know. It's like, how have you done that? Because they don't know how to do that. they wouldn't be able to transform a creature like that in that short space of time, from being on death's door, you know. All this, the ears were just like leather, the skin was hanging off at the back, like on her nose. It was raw, it was like just like meat. All her paws were more or less just like meat. And then now, sorry, it's a he, not a she. And now he's got too much energy. So,
is he still with your mum?
No, this is a dog that's in Mexico. He's back at home with the family in Mexico.
Yeah.
So, you know, you share these images with folks, and even, I don't know, man, there are a lot of skeptical people out there, but when you share these images, such as the garden, such as the dog, and I've got a bunch of them, man. I can be there all day sharing images I've got, but they're just a beautiful way to send that bolt of energy to that person. That, wow, that's a real deal, you know. That's the real deal. You know, we haven't put any pharmaceuticals into that creature. We haven't done anything to it other than give it love. I mean, the love is a big important part of his recovery also. We know a lot of love and attention. And I think that ties into what we're talking about the elderly and the disabled, is the fields that you will create when you're putting that environment of caring around those people is just as important as the plasma. You know, the plasma's playing a part, you're playing a part. And there's a connection, one's pushing the other. And it's a beautiful way to connect to people, and it really hits home when you're dealing with people who've never even looked, they've never even heard of this stuff before. And when you can share images like that, it's like, wow, they get it, you know?
Let me ask you, Tom, about, you mentioned earlier how you got there and people are really down and the mood is, you know, pretty grim to begin. Now, you manage, and then you say, and we see in this picture and others, that you've elevated the mood of the people around you there. And, you know, through your whatever process, partly through the workshop and partly through just your interactions with them and through the plasma products and so on, creating that atmosphere. When you first began, you obviously can't come in with just total enthusiasm initially, because you'd be approaching it at a too high of an emotional level to begin with. How do you start? How do you begin to interact with people who are at a truly low, you know, emotional level to begin with, to start that elevation process?
That's a brilliant question, and I maintain a bit of a chameleon-like persona, and I'm proud of it that I can do it. You can put me in a room full of guys with suits on who are waffling about very important political stuff, and I'll find a way where I can connect with them. I'll find a way where we're speaking the same language, and I can do the same if I go down into the ghetto. And I make a soul connection first, and I'll find where the common ground is. And I mean, I'm not alone. Many people do this. Most people do this. No, you find a way to connect, and people don't realize they're doing soul connection, but that's what's happening. You're connecting to soul and build up a rapport. And once you've built up that rapport, now you're on a ground where you're equal. One is not, I haven't walked into that scenario as I'm the teacher. I'm going to teach you all how to do this now. I walk into that scenario and share and just, I want to learn from them. Like the moment the guy smelt the caustic liquid and made the correlation between that and life, I was just blown away. And I said, wow, you've just taught me today. You've just taught me something fantastic. And boom, we're on a level. We're on an even keel. I'm not there as any higher order than you. I want to elevate you higher than me. I want you to show me, and then I learn something, and it's wonderful. And for me, that's the way I function. I just go in on a level, I make a soul connection, And anyone who was wanting to go into the disaster areas and help out, that's just my advice to you: is do that. Is go in and make yourself felt first, and just be there as a big heart, you know, that can sympathise if that's what's needed, or like we all did. I just went in and we did some physical work at the end of the day too, you know. I had my only good pair of sneakers I've got on, and I was dressed nice, and that didn't matter. We went into the earth and got dirtied up and sweat a lot, and you know, and I mucked in on an equal level. And that's, to me, that's key, is just coming in and making people see that you're a real person and that you're not in any way higher order than they are. And then you've created a platform where everyone is all right, and they're open, and they will share, and they will feel comfortable. Because, to give you a backstory on my life, I was kicked out early at school, and I was a good student. I wasn't a bad boy or anything like that, but basically I wouldn't conform. I wouldn't cut my hair, and I didn't like wearing uniform and all that. And it gave me a very, very important life lesson about all that authoritarian way of working, which is get you in line and get you under manners. And then now you're in a position where we're higher than you, and now we're going to teach you how it is. And I just rebelled out of that instantly. I couldn't stand it, and I know I'm not alone. And I just rebelled, and I dropped out of everything. And I was, according to society, I was a failure. But I know I'm full of life, and I've just gone off and done my own thing, and I don't care two damns about society and what the system says I should and shouldn't do. And I can still make that comparison today. My daughter has just started school. We've homeschooled her, and she's 7 now, and we've homeschooled her till this age, and we've just put her in a beautiful school. She was hungry for stimulation, maybe, that we're not giving her. And it's a Waldorf school, and they're teaching about nature. They're teaching about cooking and body movement and naturality and gardening. And if you start trying to teach mathematics and writing in there, they'll kick you out. They'll tell you, no, stop. That's not what we're doing here. We're creating an environment where the environment is a correct environment to learn. And that starts with just like loving the place we are. Let's see how amazing our planet is. Let's see how amazing flowers and plants are and animals are. No, and now you're hungry for information, and now you want to learn. And on the flip side of that, I would drop my daughter off at school, and then I'll go back into town, and I'll see the kids that are at school in town, and they're wearing grey uniforms, and they're lined up in straight lines, and they're listening to militarized music. There'll be someone playing the trumpet that's going. And the contrast is huge for me. I can see the programming and the it's a wicked intention that's being put on those children, you know, and I don't ever want to be a part of that system of teaching. And it's not even learning. I don't know what to call it. It's about getting you programmed and getting you in a position where you can be manipulated. And I think it's important that we do all our teachings on a soul level. Come in and connect with people one-on-one and let them feel your soul. You'll feel their soul. That stuff's rinsed out of us at an early age. So for me, I'm very grateful that they categorized me as a failure, and I'm very grateful that they kicked me out of school and all that stuff, because it gave me the tools I need. And now I can go into any environment. Even with the suits, I can go in there. No offense to anyone who likes to wear a suit, but I can go in that environment and I can make a soul connection, or I can go down into the ghetto where I was the other day and make a soul connection. And that's how you raise the vibration. That's how you make the platform for teaching to be correct. And yeah, I think that's it. I think you get it. You get what I'm trying to say.
So my big question is for Tom: is it harder to raise the soul of like your friend Elf here, or the guy in the suit?
Elf's a high entity. Elf
So
is
you
a beekeeper. Elf is a gardener. Elf is well in tune with all nature's elements already, so he doesn't need any elevating. So we're on an even keel. He and I. We create an energy loop, and we can energize a room. Me and him did the teaching, and the rest of the guys sort of joined in at the end. But he's a very high vibe guy. But so it's according to the individual, isn't it? Some have had that stamped out of them. And I believe that standardization of education and school and college and all that stuff, that tends to, it's not black and white, but that tends to rinse out your individuality. So you will find the people who've gone through that standard stuff, it's harder to make the soul connection. But at the end, we're all humans, and no matter what programming we go through, we can tend to find a little crack in the sidewalk and get our way out of it, you know, if we want to.
Yes, exactly. So even those in suits have hope. Okay.
Yeah, I try not to judge them in suit. I know one of our favorite teachers likes to wear a suit, so we mustn't judge.
So we can't judge people in suits. I've changed my attitude about suits a lot since Mr. Keshe wears suits all the time.
Exactly. We don't know and we can't judge, but it's the soul you feel, right? It's the soul we connect to, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, the last time I wore a suit was with him, actually, in Bari, Italy.
And you know what a suit can do. I mean, anyone who doesn't wear a suit, who puts a suit on, you know what it does to you. It actually is quite an empowering thing, and you start to feel like, ooh, your shoulders go back, and you feel a little bit like, well,
yeah,
you know, there's psychology behind it. I get it. I get why people wear suits.
I wore one for years. Yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Yes. Okay, I wonder if we should wrap things up here, Caroline, or shall we just carry on?
Does anyone have any pranging questions or sharing before we close down? Thank you, Tom, for all your work and sharing. And I wish I had some of this knowledge before I got to know it before and very at the beginning, because I would have most probably maneuvered you in a totally different position.
If only we
had to go.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, eh? If only we all knew everything before.
No, I mean, it had to come this way for you to be where you are now. And I do appreciate it, and I do thank you for all your sharing and your beauty. Thank you so much.
Thanks for giving me the platform to share.
Mr. Keshe would like to speak to you for a moment, please. Thank you.
That would be nice.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mr. Keshe. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Thanks for being there. Thank you very much for what you're doing. And sorry, I was in a number of meetings and other discussions today. Couldn't join you. I've seen what you've achieved, and it's no problem if you don't wear a tie and a suit. You know, when I used to be a university student, in what I see you, you're a very clean man. I used to be in the same, worse, not worse, but in a different hairstyle and the things you look very good compared to how I used to go to university.
Thank you. That's good to know. It's good to know.
So it's not a problem. It's very nice to see what you're achieving. And if you need any help, if you need anything from us, like before, just let us know.
Well, as you've seen, we're doing it in Spanish. They say with cacahuates. We're doing it on peanuts, and it's all good. You know, we're not in a big need for anything really. I mean, there's plenty of places that we can go in and supplies and help out in physicality, but in reality, we're able to do what we need to do with what we've got. So I think we're all right. But that's good to know. Thanks a lot.
If you need anything, we're still there to to help out and to support it. And that's all we can do.
One thing I can say is my crew there in the workshop, after their initial burst of enthusiasm, we ran out of containers really quickly. So, you know, there is little ways that we can help. Well, I mean, when you make one plasma, you've used your best glass container. Now you're itching to make your moringa plasma. Okay, where's the next container? Oh no, we've run out of containers. Okay, so you know, on that level, we could supply some supply.
You have coconuts?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah, that's the best thing. The coconut is one of the best containers.
I view coconuts as a totally magic thing. Coconut oil's a plasma already, right?
Yeah, but you can use the coconut itself as a container. It's sealed, and you can use it as a perfect system.
Yeah, I realize the coconuts are one of the most amazing living entities
You know,
on
with
our planet.
coconuts, I saw in your video, you were scavenging for wires or whatever, for copper. With the coconuts, you can just use the hole on the top. You don't need to break it. Just open up and just empty it the way you just cut the top and use it. 2 wires. You don't need plates. We give you the same thing.
Yeah, they're amazing things. Coconuts will give you oil. They'll give you water. They'll give you milk. You can use it as a bowl. You can use the leaves on the tree to weave fabric. You can use the as a kind of
Don't need to go naked.
Absolutely multifunctional tree.
You can play football with it.
Anything.
And coconut water is the only substitute for blood as well. In an emergency, it can be used for blood transfusions.
It's a mystic tree, as they would say down here. You've got to respect that tree. It's a good one.
Thank you very much for everything, Tom. And if you need anything, we are there. The whole, whatever we can offer you. You got there, you were the biggest gift.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving me the chance to come out here. It's been nice to come back home. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Tom, this is John here.
Hello, John.
I'd like to know, what method do you use to make the seawater GANs?
Sure.
With caustic or with bicarbonate of soda?
What I had there, because 2 years ago I realized that it might be a key ingredient for us, is my mother, I won't say my mother bought a huge bag of caustic soda from the pharmacy. So I was so pleased to see that hadn't blown away when I arrived back, and it was dry and it was in good condition. So I'm using that now as a tool for doing a lot of the jobs. So in this scenario, I made, I just shook a little caustic soda into a strong container and boiled the seawater that we had to take out any of the undesirable stuff out of it. And I explained to the guys that, you know, in an ideal world, you could do it this way, that way, and the other way. But just basically, we poured the boiling water on the caustic soda and let it do its thing, and then cleaned it up. So we did it the really simple way. And I realized people should know, if you can use food grade caustics, and if you can, there are many, many ways we can make plasmas, right? And all of them are not ideal. But out here, we've got a limitation on us. So I'm working with the sodium hydroxide, and I'm just making sure that if we show people that they're careful, and we're making sure that they realize they've got to wash it, and wash it, and there's got to be no trace of that stuff left in it, you know? Ideally, as well, we were talking to them about what they can do with their ashes if they boil it down and create the potash and all that. That's all a big part of it. Hope that answers your question.
You could also do it with a bicarbonate of soda. If you heat the bicarbonate and make carbonate, it's not as aggressive as your caustic.
What you need to do is jot that down in whatever way you can onto a document, and just do an A, B, and C of what's the process, and then everyone's got that info out there, and we can run with it. I believe there's a whole ton of ways we can do this stuff. There is no single right and wrong way, but I think the more info that goes out there, then people can work with what they have, because maybe if we didn't have caustic soda, we would have had a jar of, well, whatever we need, right? So it's good to get that information out there. If you've got it in your head, write it down, and we will gladly receive that kind of stuff. Thanks.
I've got another thing for you. You were talking about blood transfusions with coconut milk. You can do that with the person.
Don't use coconut milk. Don't use coconut milk.
No, well,
use coconut water. Use coconut water.
Coconut white. But the urine, the person's urine is the best thing you can use for a transfusion.
Somehow I knew you were going to bring that up one way or another, John.
Oh, but I mean, we're in an emergency. You got to know about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They may not want to use their urine at the time. You know, they may not have a surplus at the moment. But anyway, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's all relevant, and what's important for folks to know is that there are many different ways to get to that same end process. And it was kind of what I wanted to show by just digging out whatever piece of copper I could find and throw it in the fire, because I know that for some folks that's like, no, you're not nano coating there, and that's not correct and what have you. But I want to show you that if I just take a piece of copper and throw it in the fire, and then I join it up to another piece of whatever it is, look, I have made a plasma. And so as much as we can fall into the details and the technicalities of it all, and I think that's more or less what I'm here doing, is sort of demystifying and simplifying stuff, is it can be a high science, it can be a high physics, or it can be, as Mr. Keshe has been saying for many, many years, it can, the average Joe on the street can do this with the bits and pieces that he's got blowing around him. And that's what I'm trying to do. So all of that information is relevant. Using whatever substance we can use to change the conditions, brilliant. Because for someone it's relevant, for another person it isn't.
You are already in the GAN state, Tom, so you can imagine what fields you're creating around you by just your presence.
Yeah, we all are. That's what I think is important, that we all start to try and teach, that the detailed information of, are we clockwise and are we counterclockwise, and have you used a grade of caustic? Well, come on, we're it. Get your mojo working, you know, we're it.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
One thing I would just add before I sign off, I remember when I first bumped into you guys, and it was quite a few years ago, and I said, yeah, I know this information, I know it, I feel it from someone. And I remember introducing myself to what seemed to me like a room full of physicists, I don't know. And they said, can we see your systems? What systems are you building? And I just said, you're talking to it. And it didn't really, I don't know how many of them picked it up, but I was like, I am my maggraph. I haven't made a maggraph. You're talking to it, you know? And as the teachings get more and more advanced, they're going backwards and they're getting simpler. And yeah, magravs are great, but you are one. And I hope more and more people are starting to realize that you're the walking magrav. You are that jar of plasma. So everything that you see it doing, every bit of pain that it miraculously takes away, and every bit of joint ache that you can relieve for auntie and uncle and whoever, you could do that. You can do it. You're the jar of plasma. And on that note, I've waffled for way too long, so I'm going to sign off and say thanks and much love, and thanks for having me on. It's been nice chatting with you.
Thank you, Tom, for sharing. It was beautiful. And I'm glad I bumped into you as much as you bumped into us.
Yeah, me too.
So Rick and Flint and Vince, there any pranging questions before we give you all a rest, maybe?
I just see thanks and people sending love and gratitude. I especially am thankful to Tom for his discussion today. It was very heartfelt.
Thanks, Rick.
I think it has touched all our souls, and let's wish him to complete his mission as he's doing such a beautiful work, reaching out to so many souls. And I'm grateful to be part of seeing this and what he has been able to create, and for so many others to make it simple. Be the Magraph, be the power station, be the giver, be the sharing, be creative, and especially above everything else, follow your heart in what you are, the best and the most beautiful being you can ever imagine to be. But show, share, and don't hide and don't stay in the shadows. Come into the light of sharing as one big family. We can bring so much peace to so many souls by you just being present.
I am present.
Yeah, I'm present in that one.
I am present.
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 I spotted somebody's voice there. Is that Paul Yatut? Maybe if Paul could give us an update of the situation in Togo, that would be a very nice closure for this session. Thank you. Is it possible for you to, Paul, to speak, please? Or are you in a stable network? Paul, was that you? Paul Yatut? Do you see him, Rick?
Yes, Paul is, I believe, present.
He is in the list.
He's in the list. I heard him earlier, and I'm not sure if he's able to unmute there now. Paul, you want to go ahead, Paul?
I heard every time he's present, I am present, but I thought, is it Tom or am I dreaming? But I think I recognized it last time for sure.
I can try to unmute him and see what happens. It's always interesting, but we'll see.
Thank you.
I'm not able to unmute him, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Flint, are you
we know sometimes he has a bad connection, so maybe he can share on Thursday morning if he can make sure he has a stable line.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, team. Thank you, translators. Thank you, all knowledge seekers, people in public. As we see new souls are rolling in, coming in, joining us, trying to pick up where we already are on our path. We embrace them with love and care. We will start guiding new souls and on a speed to come up to be a knowledge seeker.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. And I think that wraps it up for today then, for the 17th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace, for Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. It's been a full presentation. Thank you everybody for attending, and we'll hear some music to go out with.